Chapter 40:10. What's going on? How can this celestial demon king's god be so strong? The middle-aged scholar frowned. Logically speaking, the celestial demon king was at the pinnacle of the fiend-god transformation realm just like the three of them. But in reality, the three of them were no match for the celestial demon king's god even if they joined forces. What they didn't know was that if the celestial demon king's god was at the same level as the three of them, he wouldn't have such terrifying strength. But it's a pity that the celestial demon king's god has been reborn. This is a new god created by Zhuoan using the power of the purple tree. It's a god that far surpasses the ordinary gods. Within the same realm, no other god can match it. It's on par with it. The celestial demon king was shocked. This is the first time he's faced an enemy after his rebirth. Lord Dao Wen is too amazing. The new god that was born for me is so strong. The celestial demon king's respect for Zhuoan grew, and his hatred for the Lin clan that trapped Zhuoan in the imperial library grew. While the three of them were still in a daze, the celestial demon king launched a thunderous attack. His entire body shot out like an arrow from a bow. His speed was so fast that it was almost like a meteorite falling from the sky. In an instant, he appeared in front of the middle-aged scholar. The expressions of the middle-aged scholar and the other two changed greatly. They all erupted with powerful fiend-god power to resist the heavenly fiend evil king. But what shocked the three of them was that the heavenly devil evil king's power was stronger than the three of them combined. They were actually being beaten back. You're not at the pinnacle of the fiend-god transformation realm, but half a step into the ancient star transformation realm? The middle-aged scholar shouted in shock and anger. The corner of the celestial demon king's mouth curled up into a cold sneer. When their god was reborn, their cultivation rose to a new realm, half a step into the ancient star transformation realm. His strength has reached a terrifying level. How could an ordinary pinnacle fiend-god transformation realm cultivator be his opponent? On the other side, the 10 fiend-god transformation experts were already engaged in a fierce battle with the hybrid demon king. Of these 10 experts, 3 of them were in the late phase of the fiend-god transformation realm, while the remaining 7 were in the middle phase. They all released their fiend gods, and their killing intent soared to the skies as they unleashed their strongest attacks. Hybrid demon king, you're dead meat. The one leading the charge was a hunchbacked old man. His aura was vast and boundless. He was a late-stage fiend-god transformation expert. The hunchbacked old man's god-fiend was also quite extraordinary. It was a huge black skeleton. This black skeleton was surrounded by black flames and had a crown on its head. Its aura was extremely vast. The hybrid demon king's expression was cold. He also released his own demon god. His demon god was a huge warrior wearing black armor. This fiend god was extremely ferocious. As soon as it appeared, it stomped on the air and shot into the sky like a black meteor. Clang! The black-armored warrior leapt into the air and appeared in the middle of the 10 fiend gods. With a whoosh, it unsheathed the long blade at its waist. With a wave of its right hand, it seemed like an extremely skilled swordsman. The black blade vibrated at high speed and drew a mysterious arc in the air. The 10 fiend gods surrounding the black-armored warrior seemed to have stopped in midair. They did not move at all. After a short moment of stillness, the 10 fiend gods howled in pain and were sent flying. Among them, 7 of the weaker gods and devils were sliced into countless pieces by the strange saber light and completely dispersed. As for the other 3 fiend gods, they retreated with injuries all over their bodies. At the same time, the hybrid demon king moved as well. He instantly appeared in the middle of the 10 fiend god transformation experts. His weapon was also a long blade. His blade technique was extremely sharp, like lightning in the night sky. It flashed past so quickly that it was almost invisible. The 7 fiend gods who had lost their fiend gods suffered from the backlash of their fiend gods and revealed an obvious opening. The hybrid demon king took advantage of this opening and quickly slashed out 7 times. Instantly, the terrifying blade light cut the 7 fiend gods into 8 pieces. Even their souls were destroyed. The other 3 late fiend god transformation experts narrowed their eyes and retreated without a second thought. Old ancestor Lin, your information must be wrong. This person is not a late fiend god transformation expert, he is a peak fiend god transformation expert. The stooped old man shouted at Lin Yashan as he retreated. The difference between a late fiend god transformation expert and a peak fiend god transformation expert was only a small stage. However, the difference in strength was huge. Even if the three of them worked together, they were not confident of being a match. In addition, the hybrid demon king's fiend gods were so strong that they were shocked. Didn't they see the 10 fiend gods retreating and 7 of them being killed? Even a peak fiend god transformation expert would not have such strength. Lin Yashan, who had been waiting for the result, naturally saw the scene in front of him. He was completely stunned and his expression changed greatly. Especially when he saw the heavenly demon king and the hybrid demon king's strength, his expression became very ugly. Long Yao, didn't you say that the heavenly demon king was only at the peak of the fiend god transformation? Is the hybrid demon king only at the late fiend god transformation? What's going on now? Lin Yashan suddenly looked at Lin Longyaro and scolded. Lin Longyaro did not expect the situation to turn out like this. His body trembled as he said, I have investigated the two of them. Their cultivation did not change at all. Why did they suddenly improve? I'm not sure. Lin Yashan coldly snorted as he looked at the middle-aged scholar and the others who were retreating. He knew that if he did not act now, these people would all be killed by the heavenly demon king and the hybrid demon king. Everyone, don't panic. This old man will help you. Lin Yashan took a step forward and floated in the air. With a wave of his sleeve, a black array disc was thrown out by him. At the same time, Lin Yashan formed hand seals with both hands. Numerous complicated hand seals surged out of his hands. Like countless fish, they landed on the black formation discs. These array discs were arranged in a very orderly manner. After the runes appeared on the surface of the array disc seemed to come alive. A strong aura shot up into the sky and pierced through the sky. Then, with Lin Yashan as the center, an extremely powerful array ripple rapidly appeared in a radius of thousands of miles. These formation Dao ripples intertwined with each other in an extremely complicated pattern, eventually forming an extremely terrifying formation. Within the formation, countless lotuses burning with golden flames appeared. These lotuses were densely packed together, and when they combined together, they transformed into 2 gigantic golden lotus dragons. As soon as these 2 dragons formed, they roared and rushed towards the hybrid demon king and the heavenly demon king respectively. Chapter 40:11. Roar. The 2 raging lotus fire dragons roared as they charged towards the heavenly demon evil king and the hybrid demon king. Their huge bodies were made up of countless fire lotuses. Their immense dragon aura poured out in an invincible manner. Bang! Bang! In the blink of an eye, the fire dragons collided with the heavenly demon evil king and the hybrid demon king. Flames and demonic chi swept up and filled the entire array. It looked very strange and powerful. But to Lin Yashan's surprise, the 2 seemingly powerful fire dragons were still suppressed by the heavenly demon evil king and the hybrid demon king's divine demons. How can the divine demons of these 2 be so powerful? Lin Yashan's gaze became very grave. He took a deep breath and formed a seal with both hands. Even more complicated formation runes surged out from his hands like a fairy scattering flowers. They fluttered and spread out in all directions. The surrounding space suddenly surged with even more powerful array ripples. Like a monstrous wave, they rushed up to the sky and swept around the raging lotus fire dragon array. At this moment, the 2 fiery lotus dragons had been completely destroyed by the 2 fiend gods and had been reduced to countless fiery fragments. Heaven-breaking 9 steps array, divine spirit array of the 4 symbols. Lin Yashan snorted and formed the last seal with his hands. Suddenly, the surrounding array changed and its aura became even more terrifying and condensed. Around the array, 4 different colored lights burst out. These 4 lights became more and more intense and condensed. Finally, 4 tall and mighty giants appeared in the 4 lights. The aura of these 4 giants was so vast that it was almost beyond the range of the divine demon transformation. The middle-aged scholar and the others who had retreated to the edge were shocked when they saw the 4 giants. The aura of these 4 giants was too vast and powerful. If they were to face these 4 giants, they would not be able to last more than 3 moves. Is this old ancestor Lin's most famous array, the divine spirit array of the 4 symbols? This is the heaven-breaking 9 steps array. It is said that no one can escape from the ancient star transformation. It is a supreme array in the entire radiant mist main region. The stooped old man muttered in horror. He muttered to himself. With the existence of this formation, these 2 people are dead for sure no matter how strong they are. The middle-aged scholar said in a rather relaxed manner. At this moment, the 4 giants immediately rushed over. 2 of them immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the 2 gods and devils. The terrifying ripples of the battle were enough to topple mountains and overturn seas. It was extremely frightening and terrifying. The other 2 giants rushed towards the Heavenly Devil Demon King and Hybrid Demon King. Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King's faces finally changed. The 4 symbols' divine spirit formation was too powerful. The aura of the 4 giants was so terrifying that it made them tremble with fear. Especially when they saw that their 2 powerful fiend gods were actually completely suppressed by the giant. They were practically being suppressed. Fear rose in their hearts. Boom. However, the 2 of them didn't have time to think because the 2 giants had already appeared in front of them. They each threw a punch at their vital points. Poochie. Poochie. The 2 of them used all their strength to block the giant's attack. However, they were extremely passive and were blasted away. Blood spurted out from their mouths. They were seriously injured and their faces were as pale as snow. At the same time, the 2 gods and devils were also retreating. They were also letting out miserable shrieks. The attacks of the 4 symbols' divine spirit formation became more and more terrifying. Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King couldn't block it at all. In the process of passively resisting, they were constantly injured and the injuries on their bodies became more and more serious. In the end, the 2 gods and devils were almost defeated and returned to their bodies. The 2 of them were dripping with blood and were on the verge of death. The 4 symbols' divine spirit formation surrounded the 2 of them and looked down at them. However, they didn't continue to attack. Lin Yashan slowly landed on the shoulder of one of the giants. He looked at the 2 of them and said with a faint smile, "You 2, do you know how powerful my Lin family is? If you know what's good for you, submit to our Lin family now. Our Lin family will not treat you unfairly. We will." Lin Yashan's heart was filled with love for talent. The strength of Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King was truly beyond his expectations. This was especially true for the Heavenly Fiend Demon King, who was already half a step into the ancient star transformation realm. His strength had already reached an earth-shattering level. In the entire Hushu realm, perhaps only the Hushu clan would be able to find an existence stronger than him. Lin Yashan naturally didn't want to kill such a talent like this. He wanted to subdue them and make them serve the Lin family. Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King sneered and remained silent. Lin Yashan saw their expressions and knew that they didn't intend to submit to the Lin family. He frowned slightly. "Longyaro, Danshan, tie them up and lock them in our Lin family's dungeon," Lin Yashan said lightly. Lin Longyaro and Lin Danshan didn't dare to delay. They took out the god-binding rope and tied up Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King tightly. Then, they ordered people to take them away. Old Ancestor Lin is indeed the most powerful divine formation master in our Radiant Mist main region. He easily set up a heaven-breaking level 9 formation and took down these 2 people with ease. The middle-aged scholar, the hunchbacked old man, and the remaining 6 people quickly came forward and praised Lin Yashan. However, their eyes were filled with fear and awe. Although they had long known that Lin Yashan was a heaven-breaking Tier 9 formation Dao master, they had never seen him in action. Now that they had seen it, they finally knew how powerful Lin Yashan was. Not to mention the heaven-breaking Tier 9 formation 4 Divine Spirit formation, just the peak heaven-breaking Tier 8 formation Raging Lotus Fire Dragon formation that Lin Yashan set up in an instant was enough to trap them. At least most of them would die, and a few of them would barely be able to hold on. After a long time, they would still die in the Raging Lotus Fire Dragon formation. Lin Yashan naturally saw the fear and awe in the eyes of the middle-aged scholar and the others. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He cupped his hands and said politely to the 6 people, "The 6 of you have worked hard this time. If it weren't for you, our Lin family wouldn't have been able to capture these 2 traitors. Defy. Later, I will order someone to give each of you a heaven-breaking Tier 7 formation disc." The middle-aged scholar and the others were pleasantly surprised. They did not expect Lin Yashan to reward them even though they did not help much this time. The 6 of them admired and respected Lin Yashan even more. The moment they entered the Imperial Book Pavilion, the door slammed shut. Zhuowen revealed a cold smile and muttered in a low voice, "Lin Yashan, I hope you are a smart person. Otherwise, I, Zhuowen, will not be courteous to your Lin family." After entering the Imperial Book Pavilion, he had already sensed that there were several powerful killing and trapping formations set up in the Imperial Book Pavilion. Once the door of the Imperial Book Pavilion closed, the cultivators in the Imperial Book Pavilion would not be able to escape. Chapter 40:12. Zhuowen no longer thought about Lin Yashan. His gaze was fixed on the rows of huge bookshelves in the Imperial Library. Every row of bookshelves was filled with books. At a glance, all of these books were related to the Array Dao. Zhuowen's eyes lit up. The Lin family was indeed the #1 array formation family in the Radiant Mist main region. The array formation books in the Imperial Library were really rich. They were much richer than Hongwu Shengzon's. The moment he entered the Imperial Library, Zhuowen's divine consciousness spread out like a huge net. He found that the Imperial Library was divided into 9 areas. The area he was in was the area near the entrance of the Imperial Library. It was also the outermost area. Other than this area, the other areas were sealed by powerful restrictions. Zhuowen's divine consciousness could not enter the other 8 areas. Furthermore, Zhuowen discovered that the bookshelves in the outermost region were all heaven-breaking level 1 array Dao manuals. In other words, the deeper one went, the more advanced the array formation books would be. With Zhuowen's current array Dao standards, unless it was a heaven-breaking level 9 or above array Dao scripture, it would be completely useless to him. Zhuowen walked forward slowly. Soon, he arrived in front of the restriction in the second area. Zhuowen formed a seal with his hands. Instantly, the restriction energy in the second area dissipated. It was easily broken by Zhuowen. Zhuowen did not stop. He walked straight into the depths of the Imperial Library. With his array formation skills, the restrictions in the first 8 areas did not hinder him at all. After a while, Zhuowen entered the 9th area. The 9 areas were not big. There was only 1 bookshelf in each area. There were not many array formation books on it. They were scattered in the bookshelf. However, Zhuowen's eyes shone with excitement. He knew that the array Dao manuals in the 9th region were all extraordinary. They were all heaven-breaking level 9 array Dao manuals. Hey! The Imperial Library has a 10th area. Zhuowen circled around the 9th area. Suddenly, he discovered an extremely obscure restrictive aura in front of him. He stopped in front of the restriction and reached out with his right hand. Suddenly, a terrifying energy burst out like lightning and landed in Zhuowen's hand. Zhuowen reacted quickly and quickly retreated. At the same time, he formed a seal with both hands and instantly formed a defensive formation. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. The defensive array in front of Zhuowen instantly shattered, and he flew out with a muffled groan, smashing into the edge. Poochie! Involuntarily spitting out a mouthful of blood, Zhuowen's expression became extremely gloomy as he stared fixedly at the obscure restriction. He could clearly sense that this obscure restriction was extremely powerful. He had only touched it once, but he was already injured. This made him very shocked. One had to know, his formation Dao comprehension ability had already reached breaking heaven tier 9 in essence, just lacking the theoretical foundation. As long as he flipped through the heaven-breaking array formation books, he would be able to advance to breaking heaven tier 9 divine array master in a short time. A normal heaven-breaking tier 9 formation would not be able to harm him. However, this obscure restriction, he was injured just by touching it. It could be seen that the level of this restriction might have surpassed breaking heaven tier 9. Zhuo Wen's eyes narrowed as he took a deep look at the obscure restriction. He knew that since such a powerful restriction could be set up, the 10th area behind this restriction would definitely be extraordinary. However, he also knew that with his current level of formation Dao, it was impossible for him to break this restriction. Unless his formation Dao level reached breaking heaven tier 9, there might be some possibility. Thinking of this, Zhuo Wen began to calm down and began to study the heaven-breaking 9 steps array Dao books in the 9th region. As Zhuo Wen's comprehension ability had already reached breaking heaven tier 9, it wasn't difficult for him to read these heaven-breaking array formation books. He read very quickly and comprehended very quickly. In just 3 days, he had finished reading all the array formation books in the 9th area. So that's how it is. So this is how the heaven-breaking array formation works. It has completely broken the previous principles of setting up arrays. On this day, Zhuo put down the book in his hand. His eyes revealed a look of enlightenment, and a light that was difficult to look at burst out of his eyes. He stretched out his hands and slowly formed various complicated seals in the void. As his hands continued to form seals, many seals and patterns appeared in the void. These patterns and seals intertwined into divine chains of laws. They continued to intertwine and revolve, and finally formed a powerful formation Dao trajectory. Moreover, as Zhuo continued to form seals, the formation Dao trajectory in the void became more and more powerful, almost condensing into a substance. Zhuo set set up the array formation as if he was drunk. In less than half a day, he had completely set up a heaven-breaking array formation. If other formation Dao divine masters knew about this, their jaws would definitely drop. As everyone knew, all the formation Dao divine masters who had just stepped into heaven-breaking level 9 would have to go through a long period of practice and fail many times before they could finally complete the embryonic form of the heaven-breaking level 9 formation. With continuous practice and refinement, the speed and efficiency of a formation Dao divine master would become faster and faster. The ancestor of the Lin family, Lin Yashan, had been a heaven-breaking array formation master for tens of thousands of years. He had practiced countless times, which was why he could set up a heaven-breaking array formation in 15 minutes and instantly set up a heaven-breaking array formation at the peak of the heaven-breaking array formation. However, Zhuo Wen was completely different. He had successfully set up a heaven-shattering Tier 9 grand array on his first try, and it had only taken him half a day. This speed was faster than any other array formation genius, and he had broken the records of countless array formation geniuses. Zhuo waved his sleeve, and the embryonic form of the heaven-breaking array formation dissipated. Then, he continued to set up the array formation. The second time, he only took 10 hours to succeed. The third time, it took him 4 hours. Zhuo practiced repeatedly, and on his 10th attempt, he succeeded in half a quarter of an hour. In other words, his speed of setting up the heaven-breaking array formation was faster than Lin Yashan's, and its power was no weaker than Lin Yashan's. Zhuo stopped and slowly walked to a hidden place in the 9th district. There was an extremely high-level array formation hidden here. Before reaching the heaven-breaking array formation, Zhuo was helpless. Now, he had some confidence, and he wanted to try to break this restriction. Zhuo was very clear that after he advanced to the heaven-breaking stage 9, because he cultivated the primordial chant, his array Dao level would instantly surpass most of the heaven-breaking stage 9 array Dao God Masters. He had a certain chance of breaking this restriction that surpassed the heaven-breaking stage 9. Hold it. Moreover, he knew that this restriction wasn't complete. It was incomplete, and there was a flaw in it. I'm really looking forward to what's hidden in the 10th district of the Imperial Library. Chapter 40:13. It had to be said that the restriction in this obscure place was extremely powerful. Zhuo tried again and again, but he failed time and time again. However, Zhuo did not give up. Instead, he became more courageous with each failure. That was because as he continued to try to break this restriction, his understanding of the formation Dao also became deeper and deeper. After all, he had just advanced to the heaven-breaking level 9. Although his standard had already surpassed many heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao divine masters, he was still a little unfamiliar with it. However, in the process of breaking the restriction, he rapidly improved his understanding of the heaven-breaking level 9 formation. Imperceptibly, his formation Dao level also rapidly improved. As his formation Dao level improved, he became more and more proficient in breaking this restriction. He gradually found the trick. Finally, after more than 20 days, a muffled cracking sound was heard. Then, countless cracks appeared on the mysterious and powerful restriction in front of him. In the end, it shattered into countless pieces. Zhuo Wen's eyes shone brightly as he looked at the pitch-black passageway before him and muttered in a low voice, "I've finally broken through the restrictions of the 10th area. I wonder what exactly exists in the 10th area." Even though Zhuo Wen's calmness was shocking, he was also extremely excited at this moment. The 9th zone of the Imperial Book Pavilion stored the heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao books. The things stored in the 10th zone, which was even deeper, would definitely be more precious than the heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao books. Zhuowen lifted his foot and stepped into the tunnel, slowly stepping into the darkness. After a short while, he arrived at the end of the tunnel and entered a dark secret room. The decoration of the secret room was very simple. There was only a ball of blue light floating in the middle of the secret room. Around the ball of light, there were dense blue thunderbolts, and they were making crackling sounds. Zhuowen looked through the blue thunderbolts and vaguely saw that inside the ball of light was the appearance of a book. What a powerful restriction! This should be a book. It's actually wrapped in 2 layers of such powerful restriction. This book is definitely not ordinary. Zhuo Wen's eyes shone with a light that was hard to look at. He could see that the lightning and the light were 2 layers of restrictions. Moreover, the level of the restrictions was so strong that it was almost the same as the restrictions that connected the 10th and 9th zones. Just as Zhuo Wen was about to break these 2 layers of restrictions, a loud and clear voice suddenly resounded throughout the Imperial Study Pavilion. "Dao Wen." Inside the Imperial Study Pavilion, there were 108 restrictions and 49 great formations. Even a heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao Divine Master would not be able to escape after the Imperial Book Pavilion closes, let alone you. Zhuowen narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Patriarch Lin, what is the meaning of this? I sincerely came to your house to seek Dao. Is this how you treat your guest?" This voice belonged to Lin Yashan. Zhuo Wen recognized it immediately. Lin Yashan's voice rang out again. He said mockingly, "Guest. Dao Wen, you are too naive. After you passed the 100th level of the Formation Pagoda, you are no longer a guest of the Lin family. You are an enemy. Of course, if you pledge allegiance to the Lin family, you will be treated with the highest standards by the Lin family. In the future, you may be able to control the Lin family. Now, all you have to do is hand over your divine soul mark and swear to the heavenly Dao. I will open the Imperial Book Pavilion and let you out." Zhuowen's expression became colder. Lin Yashan really had a good plan. He wanted him to hand over his divine soul mark and swear to the heavenly Dao. He clearly wanted him to become a slave of the Lin family. "Patriarch Lin, don't go too far. Do you think I am a 3-year-old child? Do you think I will fall for such a clumsy trick?" Zhuowen said coldly. "Ho, whether you fall for it or not, do you think you have a choice? You should know that once I activate the restriction formation in the Imperial Book Pavilion, you will not be able to survive." Lin Yashan said coldly. Zhuowen sneered and said, "There are so many array Dao books in the Imperial Book Pavilion. They are the accumulation of your Lin family for countless years. If you activate the restriction formation to deal with me, won't you also destroy these array Dao books?" "Lin Yashan, what are you talking about? You can't threaten me." Sure enough, when these words came out, Lin Yashan immediately fell silent. Zhuowen's guess was right. Lin Yashan was indeed bluffing. The restriction formation in the Imperial Book Pavilion was very powerful, but how would he dare to really activate it? Wouldn't that destroy the Imperial Book Pavilion? The reason why he said this was only to intimidate Zhuowen, to make him cower before the battle and then obediently sign an unequal treaty with his Lin family, who knew that Zhuowen was much shrewder than he had imagined and did not fall for it at all. "Humph. Even so, you can't escape from the Imperial Book Pavilion. Without my help, you will be trapped in the Imperial Book Pavilion forever. Also, The heavenly devil evil king and hybrid devil king are in my hands. If you don't want them to die, I think you'd better make a choice. Lin Yashan threatened again. Zhuowen's eyes shot out 2 rays of cold light as he said, Lin Yashan, if you dare to kill those 2, I will destroy your entire Lin family to accompany them. Although Zhuowen did not have any feelings for the heavenly devil evil king and hybrid devil king, these 2 were the best helpers for him to go to Huxley to save Shan Lingyun. If these 2 were to die in the Lin clan, it would disrupt all of his plans. Lin Yashan sneered and said, destroy my Lin family? With just you? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. I will only give you 3 days to consider. If you can't give me the answer I want, I will destroy those 2 first. After saying that, Lin Yashan's voice gradually faded away. It was obvious that he had left the Imperial Book Pavilion. Zhuowen's eyes were cold. He looked at the blue ball of light in the 10th district. He knew that it would take a lot of time to break through these 2 layers of restrictions. Now, he did not have enough time. He had to leave the Imperial Book Pavilion first. Lin Yashan, you will pay the price for your greed. Zhuowen snorted coldly as he left the 10th district and headed towards the entrance of the Imperial Book Pavilion. With his current array formation skills, the restrictions in the Imperial Book Pavilion did not pose much of a threat to him. After a while, Zhuowen completely broke through the restrictions on the entrance of the Imperial Book Pavilion. Then, he slammed his right palm on the surface of the door. Countless cracks appeared on the thick stone door of the Imperial Book Pavilion. In the end, it suddenly collapsed into countless pieces. Smoke and dust rose as Mu Feng slowly walked out of the Imperial Book Pavilion. At this moment, Lin Yashan had just walked out of the Lin family mountain range. Then, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. This was because he heard a loud sound coming from the depths of the Lin family mountain range. He frowned slightly as his divine sense radiated out and landed in the Imperial Book Pavilion. Then, he revealed a look of disbelief. Chapter 4014. This guy actually broke through the restrictive formation of the Imperial Library? How is that possible? Lin Yashan's pupils shrank to the size of needles as he exclaimed. When Lin Yashan's divine consciousness discovered Zhuowen, Zhuowen's enormous divine consciousness also landed on Lin Yashan. Lin Yashan, do you think the Imperial Library can do anything to me? What a joke. Zhuowen's majestic voice boomed like thunder, exploding through the entire Lin mountain range. Lin Yashan's expression was ugly. He hurriedly took out several formation flags and tossed them out. Instantly, the Lin mountain range changed color. Countless bolts of lightning, flames, and other energies spread out and enveloped the entire Lin mountain range. At that moment, Lin Yashan activated several heaven-breaking Tier 9 formations in the Lin mountain range. The moment Zhuowen's divine consciousness enveloped him, he sensed that this person was not simple. Therefore, he immediately activated the formations in the Lin mountain range. At the same time, he took out a communication jade talisman and summoned all the higher-ups of the Lin family, as well as the powerful cultivators who had received favors from the Lin family. In an instant, the entire Lin family was alarmed. Numerous figures rushed out and headed toward the Lin mountain range. Lin Longyaro and Lin Danshan also woke up from their seclusion. They were shocked when they received Lin Yashan's urgent message. One had to know that this kind of emergency message would only be sent out in moments of life and death. Now that Lin Yashan had sent them such a message, could it be that he had encountered some kind of great danger? Therefore, although the 2 of them were confused, they did not dare to delay and hurriedly rushed toward the Lin mountain range. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In the blink of an eye, all the higher-ups of the Lin family had gathered around the Lin mountain range. Lin Danshan, Lin Longyaro, the middle-aged scholar, and the other powerful cultivators had all gathered. Forefather, what happened? Lin Longyaro hurriedly went forward and asked. Lin Yashan's face darkened. He said in a low voice, that Dao Wen escaped from the Imperial Library. How could he have escaped? The Imperial Study Pavilion was set up with many restrictive formations. Even if it was an ordinary heaven-breaking Tier 9 formation, it would be difficult to escape after being trapped in the Imperial Study Pavilion. Lin Longyaro was shocked. He was shocked and his mouth was wide open. Lin Danshan's eyes flashed and he became serious. He didn't expect Zhuowen to be so powerful that even the Imperial Pavilion couldn't trap him. We've underestimated this kid. If I'm not mistaken, this boy's array Dao level is not weaker than mine. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to break the Imperial Book Pavilion's restriction. Lin Yashan's eyes were gloomy. Lin Langshan, Lin Longyaro, and the others were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Yashan to think so highly of Zhuowen. What kind of person was Lin Yashan? He was a divine array master who had already broken through the heavens tens of thousands of years ago. After tens of thousands of years of continuous research, his level of array Dao must have reached an even more terrifying level. Now, he actually said that Zhuowen's level was about the same as his. Lin Longyaro and the others naturally couldn't accept it. Boom. 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 Suddenly, the violent energy in the Lin Clan mountain range dissipated, and a terrifying purple-gold sword chi shot up into the sky. Wherever the purple-gold sword chi passed, the violent thunderbolts, raging flames, and raging black winds were all torn into pieces by the sword chi. The terrifying sword chi shot up into the sky and finally slashed the surface of several large arrays that enveloped the Lin Clan mountain range. In an instant, the entire Lin Clan mountain range shook violently. The huge mountains couldn't withstand the terrifying energy and broke apart one after another. They turned into rocks and rolled down, turning into ruins. Although the purple-gold sword chi was powerful, the large arrays around the Lin Clan mountain range were also extremely extraordinary. Although they were slightly dimmed by the sword chi, they completely blocked it and were still glowing and emitting heat. At this moment, in the depths of the Lin Clan mountain range, a figure slowly walked through the air. This person's long hair was fluttering, and his sleeves were flapping. A purple-gold divine sword circled around him, bursting with a rich purple-gold light, illuminating him and making him look extremely mysterious. He was none other than Zhuowen. It really is a Dao rune. The moment Lin Longyaro saw this figure, his face immediately turned gloomy. The attack just now was too terrifying. If he had taken it head-on, he would have died without a doubt. The several large arrays around the Lin Clan mountain range are all heaven-breaking Tier 9 arrays, and they are linked together. The combined power is extremely strong. This Dao rune can't possibly break it, Lin Longyaro said confidently. Lin Yashan's eyes were cold as he said, "Don't underestimate this Dao rune. Longyaro, take the upper echelons of the Lin Clan and line up around the Lin Clan mountain range. Maintain the large arrays around the Lin Clan mountain range for me. I plan to set up several more large arrays. We must trap this kid." Hearing this, although Lin Longyaro felt that Lin Yashan was overly worried, he didn't dare to disobey the old man's orders. He hurriedly led Lin Danshan and the other upper echelons of the Lin Clan to line up around the Lin Clan mountain range. Each of them took out their array flags and formed hand seals to strengthen the Dao rune. The large arrays around the Lin Clan mountain range. Sure enough, with the support of Lin Longyaro and the others, the several large arrays that had been weakened by Zhuowen's slash were revitalized and became more and more powerful. Within the large array, Zhuowen floated in mid-air. He naturally saw everything that was happening in the Lin Clan mountain range. "You think you can stop me like this? What a joke!" Zhuowen sneered. He took out several array discs from the Great World and formed hand seals with both hands. Immediately, the complicated patterns on the surface of the array discs lit up. Then, the array discs rushed into the sky above the large array like a long dragon. "Humph! I've found the array core. No matter how many of you there are to maintain the large array, it's useless." The array discs coiled in the void, and a black vortex appeared in the void. It was the array core of the large arrays. Zhuowen sneered. He pointed the sword finger on his right hand, and the purple-gold divine sword turned into a beam of purple-gold light that shot into the black vortex. Bang! 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 Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion came from the black vortex. Then, the entire large array shook violently, and the sound of glass shattering could be heard. Lin Longyaro and the others who were maintaining the large array around the Lin Clan mountain range spat out mouthfuls of blood. Then, to their shock, they found that countless cracks had appeared on the surface of the large array in front of them. There were more and more cracks, and they were getting denser. Oh no, the large array can't hold on any longer. Retreat. Lin Danshan reacted quickly and immediately left the large array. Lin Longyaro and the others also retreated. Boom. The large array completely collapsed. Terrifying array ripples swept out like explosive energy and blasted Lin Longyaro and the others. Fut. Chapter 40:15. Thud. Thud. The Lin Clan mountain range had been reduced to rubble due to the earlier battle, but the path leading to the mountain gate was still intact. As the thud approached, a black-haired, black-eyed young man slowly walked out. A purple-gold divine sword circled around him, its aura as deep as the ocean. The purple-gold light shone in all directions, dyeing the surroundings a strange purple-gold color. Outside the Lin Clan mountain range, Lin Yashan's eyes narrowed when he saw the figure. Dao Wen, it looks like I've underestimated you. I didn't expect you to be able to escape from the heaven-breaking Tier 9 array around the Lin Clan mountain range. The middle-aged scholar and the other two peak fiend god transformation stage powerhouses hurriedly stood in front of Lin Yashan to protect him. They looked fearfully at the young man walking out from the mountain gate. They knew very well that the Lin Clan mountain range had several heaven-breaking Tier 9 arrays. Even with the Lin Clan's divine array masters present, this young man had still managed to break through them. Just how powerful was this young man? 3 heaven-breaking Tier 9 arrays. Lin Yashan, is this where your confidence comes from? Zhuo Wen slowly walked forward. His cold gaze shot out and landed on Lin Yashan. Lin Yashan shuddered. That gaze was so cold that he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Don't be too arrogant, Dao Wen. The Lin Clan has been able to stand tall in the Bright Mist main district for so many years. You can't even begin to imagine our strength. Lin Yashan snorted coldly as he took out 3 scrolls from his sleeves. These are top-grade summoning scrolls. The middle-aged scholar and the other 2 couldn't help but narrow their eyes when they saw the 3 scrolls. Zhuoan also saw the 3 scrolls in Lin Yashan's hands. He knew a thing or two about summoning scrolls. It was said that a summoning scroll was usually a contract between the person holding the scroll and the other person. Once the contract was formed, the person holding the scroll would have the right to use it to summon the other person. After being summoned, the person being summoned would have to do one thing for the summoning party. After completing the summoner's task, the summoning scroll would be nullified, and the summoned party would naturally be free. The summoned party could not only be cultivators, but also powerful demonic beasts, great demons, and other non-human cultivators. I've heard that the Lin Clan's ancestor once traveled the world and used his superb array skills to sign a summoning scroll agreement with 3 top powerhouses. They all had the responsibility to help the Lin family's patriarch once. Among them is our Bright Mist main region. The powerful cultivator Yang Xiuya, the middle-aged scholar said with a solemn expression. Yang Xiuya. I know this person. He's a half-step ancient star transformation expert. In the Bright Mist main region, he must be an extremely mysterious expert who is elusive and elusive. An expert beside the middle-aged scholar exclaimed. That's right. The targets of these 3 summoning scrolls are all half-step ancient star transformation experts, and one of them is Yang Xiuya, Lin Yashan said proudly. The middle-aged scholar and the others were shocked. Didn't this mean that the Lin Clan now had 3 half-step ancient star transformation sovereigns in their ranks? It was no wonder that the Lin Clan had never had a heaven-shaking expert to guard the Lin Clan all these years. No other powers dared to invade the Lin Clan. It turned out that the Lin Clan had such a powerful trump card. Zhuoan looked at the summoning scrolls in Lin Yashan's hands with great interest. Although he had heard of summoning scrolls before, he had never used them before. After learning that Lin Yashan's summoning scrolls could summon half-step ancient star transformation experts, Zhuoan's interest was piqued. Lin Yashan glanced at Zhuoan with a smug expression. Dao Wen, now you know how powerful my Lin Clan is. If you're afraid, I can still overlook your mistake of destroying the Lin Clan mountain range, as long as you agree to my conditions. Zhuoan sneered. Lin Yashan, you think too highly of yourself. So what if you can summon 3 half-step ancient star transformation experts? I can destroy them all the same. As he spoke, Zhuowen stomped his right foot in the air. Suddenly, the entire space exploded with a terrifying sound. Zhuowen charged forward with unparalleled power. His speed was so fast that it was almost as if he had teleported. Lin Yashan's expression changed drastically. He threw out several array discs and activated the 3 scrolls in his hands. The 3 scrolls opened, revealing some kind of extremely complicated array formation. At this moment, the 3 arrays within the scrolls suddenly exploded with blazing light. Glowing runes left the scrolls and condensed into divine chains of laws. They looked extremely mysterious and powerful. The instant the 3 scrolls were activated, Zhuowen appeared in front of Lin Yashan. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched out. A terrifying explosion rang out as a ring of white clouds erupted with Zhuowen at the center. Bang! 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 The punch landed in front of Lin Yashan. Immediately, an invisible ripple of matrix Dao spread out, blocking the attack of the terrifying punch. Don't even think about harming the Lin family's patriarch. The moment Zhuowen was blocked by the array formation around Lin Yashan, the middle-aged scholar and the other 2 reacted and surrounded him. They were inexplicably shocked. Zhuowen's speed was too fast. They only reacted when Zhuowen's fist landed on the defensive array in front of Lin Yashan. Just 3 ants. Zhuowen's gaze was calm. He pointed his sword finger in the air and the violet gold divine sword whizzed out. It carried a violent violet gold sword chi as it slashed towards the lanky man on the far right. Although the lanky man's cultivation was at the peak of the celestial demon transformation, his aura was clearly weaker than the middle-aged scholar and the other person. The lanky man's eyes flashed coldly. He didn't dare to be careless and used his strongest attack. Thousand-hand demon god slash. The tall, skinny man's godfiend had 1,000 arms, and each arm held a powerful godfiend. When the lanky man shouted, the 1,000-hand demon god swung its 1,000 arms and slashed at the violet gold divine sword. Poochie. But to the lanky man's disbelief, the violet gold divine sword was too sharp. With a single slash, the 1,000-hand demon god's 1,000 arms were all chopped off. Blood splattered across the sky like a torrential downpour. Slash. Zhuowen's gaze was calm. He raised his sword finger above his head and slashed down. The violet gold divine sword drew an arc in the air and slashed at the lanky man's head. Ah! Block it for me. The lanky man used all his fiend god strength and raised his hands to meet the attack. The surging fiend god strength transformed into a tortoise shell that protected him. Chapter 40:16. The middle-aged scholar and his companion naturally saw the state of the skinny man's death. Although they were terrified, they did not flee. The 2 of them had already reached Zhuowen's side, flanking Zhuowen from both sides. The 2 gods and demons were like 2 mountains, attacking Zhuowen from both sides. You overestimate yourselves. Zhuowen shook his head. He opened his arms and took the fists of the 2 gods and demons with his bare hands. Dong. The power of the 2 fiend gods was extremely terrifying. They landed on both sides of Zhuowen and exploded with rumbling sounds. Terrifying waves of clouds were set off in the surroundings and suddenly burst out in all directions. Following that, the middle-aged scholar and his companion were shocked to find that the youth, who was extremely small compared to the gods and demons, easily caught the fists of the 2 gods and demons. Your gods and demons are really too weak. Zhuowen shook his head. With a flick of his hand, the 2 gods and demons as large as mountains were ruthlessly thrown out by him, smashing into the middle-aged scholar and his companion. Poochie. The 2 of them were smashed by the gods and demons, spurting out blood as they were crushed to the ground. When they managed to put away the gods and demons, all the bones in their bodies were shattered. They lay in the crater, unable to move. How can there be such a powerful fiend god transformation cultivator? Is he really in the fiend god transformation? The middle-aged scholar's heart was filled with fear. This was the first time he had seen such a terrifying mid-stage fiend god transformation cultivator. Moreover, the middle-aged scholar noticed that Zhuowen hadn't even released his fiend god during the battle with the 3 of them. In other words, He had not used his full strength at all. Zhuowen did not even look at the two severely injured middle-aged scholar and his companion. When he was in the early stage of the fiend-god transformation, he could easily defeat peak-stage fiend-god transformation cultivators. Now that he was in the mid-stage of the fiend-god transformation, he did not even need to release his gods and demons to kill peak-stage fiend-god transformation cultivators. In his eyes, the middle-aged scholar and his companion were as insignificant as ants. After dealing with the middle-aged scholar and the other two, Zhuowen's gaze landed on Lin Yashan. Lin Yashan was shocked. The battle prowess that Zhuowen displayed just now really frightened him. The middle-aged scholar and the other two were defeated so easily. This was something he had never expected. Lin Yashan, you shouldn't have provoked me. I am not someone you can afford to provoke. Zhuowen shook his head as a terrifying aura surged out like an ocean. He grabbed at the air with his right hand, and the violet gold divine sword appeared in his hand. Then, he suddenly slashed forward. Instantly, the violet gold divine sword erupted with a blazing sword light. The moment it landed on the ripples of the array, an earth-shattering explosion erupted from the array. Ka. Terrifying sounds of collapsing could be heard coming from the surrounding array. Then, the array was completely destroyed. Lin Yashan, who was inside the formation, was affected by the aftermath of the formation's collapse. He let out a muffled groan and retreated continuously. However, the moment he retreated, he waved his sleeve and the 3 scrolls flew to his side. Lin Yashan was both shocked and furious, but he also felt some regret in his heart. He didn't expect Zhuowen to be so powerful. If he had known, he definitely wouldn't have offended such an expert so rashly. Just at the instant he retreated, a swift and fierce sound of wind whistled over. Only now did he discover to his shock and horror that a violet gold divine sword that had slashed apart his grand formation hadn't lost its momentum in the slightest, and it was shooting straight towards him at an inconceivable speed. No, Lin Yashan was finally afraid. He felt a deep chill. He knew that if he was hit by this sword, he would definitely die. And the summoning scroll hadn't completely taken effect yet. Just as Lin Yashan was feeling despair, the scroll on his left retracted its light, and then a figure appeared out of thin air. At this moment, the figure shouted coldly and punched out with both fists, slamming into the violet gold divine sword. Clang! 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 What shocked Zhuowen was that this person's fists were actually able to resist the sharpness of the violet gold divine sword. They were actually evenly matched. Zhuowen observed carefully and discovered that this person was wearing a pair of ice silk gloves. On the surface of the ice silk gloves, there was a lustrous white light that flowed with a powerful Dao aura. Rank 6 Astral Soldier. Zhuowen was shocked to discover that the ice silk gloves on this person's hand was actually a rank 6 Astral Soldier. Moreover, from the aura, it could be seen that the gloves were of a higher level than his violet gold divine sword. It had probably reached the peak of the rank 6 Astral Soldier. This was a middle-aged man with a sinister scar on his face. This person looked to be around 50 years old. He was short and only reached Zhuowen's chest. However, this middle-aged man's aura was extremely terrifying. It was as if he was an eternal giant, giving people a strong sense of oppression. Half-step ancient star transformation? Zhuowen narrowed his eyes. He could naturally see that this middle-aged man's aura was far stronger than the 3-peak demonic transformation middle-aged scholars. He was even stronger than the newly born heavenly devil evil king. Brother Yang Xiuya, fortunately you arrived in time, otherwise, I would have already died. Lin Yashan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. That moment was truly a matter of life and death. The short middle-aged man was the strongest cultivator in the Bright Mist main region, Yang Xiuya. His cultivation was at the half-step ancient star transformation, and his strength was infinitely close to the ancient star transformation. Yang Xiuya looked at Lin Yashan indifferently before his gaze landed on Zhuowen. Especially when he saw the violet gold divine sword revolving around Zhuowen, his eyes revealed a trace of surprise and greed. Brother Lin, a mere mid-stage demonic transformation cultivator can make you so miserable? Yang Xiuya asked curiously. Lin Yashan smiled bitterly. Brother Yang, don't underestimate this kid. Although his aura is not very strong, his strength is extremely terrifying. Brother Li and the other two were easily defeated by him. Li Yanshou. Yang Xiuya's gaze turned serious when he saw the two heavily injured middle-aged scholars lying on the ground. He also knew Li Yanshou, who was at the peak of the demonic transformation stage. He was quite famous in the Bright Mist main region. Even such an expert had been defeated. It seemed that this mid-stage demonic transformation youth was not to be underestimated. Deng deng. At that moment, the other two scrolls suddenly collapsed and exploded with two rays of light. Within the two rays of light, two figures slowly appeared. Lin Yashan was pleasantly surprised. He knew that the other two top-grade summoning scrolls had taken effect. Lin Yashan, you haven't looked for me for so many years. Why did you have to summon me now? A tyrannical voice sounded, and a large black wolf, dozens of feet in size, stared coldly at Lin Yashan with a pair of scarlet eyes. Hee. You've finally summoned me. Lin Yashan, I've helped you this time. You and I owe each other a favor. Don't bother me in the future. Beside the black wolf was a demon covered in scales. He had an evil smile on his face, but his voice was extremely cold. Chapter 4017. Yang Xiuya? The ancient devil of the void and the Black Wolf King immediately noticed Yang Xiuya, and their gazes turned hostile. Whether it was the ancient void demon, Black Wolf King, or Yang Xiuya, they were all top experts in the Hushu realm. Other than Huxley, almost no one in the Hushu realm dared to offend the three of them. Especially Yang Xiuya. He was a human cultivator and had never been on good terms with the ancient void demon and Black Wolf King. For this reason, Yang Xiuya had fought with the Black Wolf King and the ancient demon of the void many times. It could be said that the grudges between them ran deep. Yang Xiuya raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, Black Wolf King, ancient void demon, long time no see. The Black Wolf King bared his teeth and said coldly, it has indeed been a long time. Back then, you snuck into my Black Emperor palace alone and killed several of my descendant. Today, you and I must settle this grudge properly. The ancient void demon only looked at Yang Xiuya indifferently and did not say anything. Instead, his gaze fell on Zhuowen. He knew very well that Lin Yashan would not summon them for no reason. Since he had summoned them, there must be something for them to do. And this matter should have something to do with the youth in front of him. Lin Yashan felt that Yang Xiuya and the Black Wolf King were at loggerheads and hurriedly dissuaded them. Black Wolf King, now is not the time for internal strife. The three of you are now on the same side. The Black Wolf King snorted coldly and gradually withdrew his killing intent. He also knew that he was the one summoned by Lin Yashan. With Lin Yashan here, he had no chance of fighting Yang Xiuya. Old Lin, speak. Why did you summon the three of us? The Black Wolf King said indifferently. Lin Yashan's venomous gaze fell on Zhuowen as he said fiercely, my request is very simple. That is to completely take down this youth in front of us. Middle stage demonic transformation realm? The Black Wolf King glanced at Zhuowen and frowned. The moment he was summoned, he naturally noticed Zhuowen. However, Zhuowen's aura was simply too weak. He was only at the middle stage of the Fiend God transformation stage, so he didn't take him seriously at all. Now, Lin Yashan had spent a lot of effort to summon the three of them just to deal with this unknown young man. He wondered if there was something wrong with Lin Yashan's head. Black Wolf King, don't underestimate him. Look at that divine sword beside him. Yang Xiuya sneered. Only then did the Black Wolf King notice the divine sword that surrounded Zhuowen like a bodyguard and emitted a purple-gold glow. This is the aura of a rank 6-star soldier. This little guy actually possesses this kind of strange treasure, the Black Wolf King exclaimed in surprise. Three of you. Don't underestimate this kid. His strength is beyond your imagination. He can kill peak Fiend God transformation experts as easily as slaughtering dogs. He's definitely not weaker than any of you. In fact, he might even be stronger, said Lin Yashan gravely. The Black Wolf King said nonchalantly, Old man Lin, you're really getting worse and worse. How strong can a mere middle stage Fiend God transformation stage cultivator be? The reason he can kill peak fiend god transformation experts is because of his rank 6-star soldier. Is it a rank 6-star soldier? Me, Yang Xiuya, and the ancient devil all have rank 6-star soldiers, and we're all half-step ancient star transformations. If I want to kill peak fiend god transformation experts, I only need one move. The ancient demon of the void and Yang Xiuya both nodded. The three of them were all half-step ancient star transformations experts. If Huxley's experts didn't appear, they could be said to be the strongest experts in the Hushu realm. No one could compete with them. They all had their own pride, so when they discovered that Zhuowen's cultivation wasn't very high, they didn't care too much. They even thought Lin Yashan was making a big fuss over nothing. Hearing this, Lin Yashan calmed down. The Black Wolf King's words weren't without reason. Zhuowen's previous performance was mostly due to the power of the purple gold divine sword. His own strength wasn't particularly outstanding. Yang Xiuya and the other two were all experts with rank 6-star soldiers. No matter how strong this Zhuowen was, the difference between them and him was too great. This battle, no matter how one looked at it, was one-sided. "Old man Lin, do you want me to help you kill this brat?" The Black Wolf King asked, looking askance at Lin Yashan. Lin Yashan hurriedly shook his head and said, "I still have a use for this kid. Don't kill him. It's best if you capture him alive." That's right, this kid's array Dao level has also reached heaven-breaking level 9. To be safe, the three of you should work together. I will support you from the side with an array. The moment these words came out, the expressions of Yang Xiuya and the other two became solemn. Heaven-breaking level 9 divine array masters were simply too rare. In the vast Hushu realm, apart from Huxley, Lin Yashan was the only heaven-breaking level 9 divine array master. Now, another one appeared. Furthermore, he looked very young. His potential was much greater than Lin Yashan's. Yang Xiuya and the other two also finally understood why Lin Yashan wanted to capture him alive. Wasn't the goal to firmly control this kid? Humph. So what if you're a heaven-breaking level 9 divine array master? In terms of actual combat, divine array masters are far inferior to cultivators. If I want to take him down, why would I need your help? The Black Wolf King didn't listen to Lin Yashan's suggestion at all. Its four hooves stomped on the air and turned into a streak of black lightning, charging toward Zhuowen. Lin Yashan's expression was ugly. This Black Wolf King was seriously too unruly. Even if it was restrained by the summoning scroll, it simply turned a deaf ear to her words and did as it pleased. However, after thinking of the Black Wolf King's powerful strength, Lin Yashan's heart relaxed a little. He thought that the Black Wolf King should be able to take down Zhuowen. Roar! In the blink of an eye, the Black Wolf King's massive body appeared before Zhuowen's eyes. It was like a black bridge that spanned between heaven and earth, extremely visually impactful. Kid. Since old man Lin has spoken, then I will be merciful and not kill you. I will only cripple your cultivation. You must remember to be grateful. The Black Wolf King looked down at Zhuowen. Its steel-like right claw suddenly slammed down, crushing down on Zhuowen's head. The Black Wolf King was too powerful. With a single swipe of its claw, heaven and earth changed color, the sun and moon dimmed, and the surrounding space shattered like glass. Zhuowen's expression changed slightly. This Black Wolf King was indeed a half-step ancient star transformation expert. Its strength was much stronger than the middle-aged scholar and the others. Heaven and earth primordial line. Chapter 4018. Rumble. The terrifying purple gold sword Qi collided with the Black Wolf King's right claw. Then, under the Black Wolf King's shocked gaze, he was forced to retreat several thousand meters before he managed to stabilize himself. The terrifying sword Qi was dispersed by him, but his right claw was dripping with blood. He looked rather miserable. Zhuowen frowned. The primordial sliver of heaven was one of his most powerful divine abilities. Combined with the purple gold divine sword, its power was terrifying. Yet, it had only lightly injured the Black Wolf King. Yang Xiuya and the ancient demon of the void were dumbfounded. The two of them had fought the Black Wolf King before. They knew that the Black Wolf King was a peerless greater demon with an unparalleled physical body. It was said that he had cultivated to the point where he could withstand an attack from an early-stage ancient star transformation expert. When they had fought the Black Wolf King, the most troublesome thing had been the Black Wolf King's terrifying physical body. Now, the Black Wolf King's right claw had been injured by a mid-stage demonic transformation cultivator. This was inconceivable. "You dare to injure me?" The Black Wolf King clutched his injured right claw, his eyes bloodshot. He was the noble Black Wolf King, a peerless greater demon. Today, he had been injured by a human cultivator who was weaker than him. This was a great humiliation. "I'm going to kill you." Zhuowen's expression was cold. Wielding the purple gold divine sword, he took a step forward and appeared in front of the Black Wolf King. At the same time, he formed a seal with his left hand. With him as the center, a square-shaped barrier appeared. Formation in one step. Lin Yashan could not help but exclaim when he saw that Zhuowen had only taken a step forward and an invisible, transparent array had formed around him. Moreover, it was a heaven-breaking Tier 9 trap formation. Yang Xiuya and the ancient demon of the void were also shocked. Although they weren't divine array masters, they still had some understanding of formations. Generally speaking, those who could form formations in one step were top-tier divine array masters. For example, Lin Yashan was a formation Dao divine master at the early stage of heaven-breaking stage 9. He could also set up a formation in one step, but he could only set up a formation below heaven-breaking stage 9. And if he wanted to set up a heaven-breaking rank 9 grand array, he would need at least several steps of time. Compared to Zhuowen's one-step formation, it was too far off. When Lin Yashan tried to break the formation, his face turned completely pale. This was because he discovered that Zhuowen's entrapment formation was actually a heaven-crushing Tier 9 intermediate spell formation. This formation was even more powerful than his own. He was well aware of what this meant. Zhuowen's array Dao level was at least above mid-stage shattering heaven Tier 9, and it might even be peak shattering heaven Tier 9. Impossible. When he first came down from the formation pagoda, his formation Dao level was only around Heaven Breaker level 8. How could he have risen to the peak of Heaven Breaker level 9 in such a short time? Lin Yashan was almost incoherent. What Lin Yashan did not expect was that Zhuowen's comprehension ability far exceeded his imagination. In less than a month's time in the Formation Dao Imperial Book Pavilion, Zhuowen had completely advanced from heaven-crushing level 8 to the terrifying heaven-crushing level 9 in one go. Yang Xiuya and the ancient demon of the void also had ugly expressions. It seemed that this ordinary young man's array Dao level was actually so high. Lin Yashan, hurry up and break this entrapment formation. The Black Wolf King might not be able to deal with this person, the ancient demon of the void hurriedly said. The Black Wolf King's array Dao level was at the peak of heaven-breaking stage 9 coupled with Zhuowen's powerful strength. They were already starting to lose confidence in the Black Wolf King. Lin Yashan wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said, "I'm breaking the formation. It will take a while. You guys wait." He could still break a mid-stage heaven-breaking stage 9 grand array, but it would take a lot of time. While Lin Yashan was breaking the formation, Zhuowen was already fighting with the Black Wolf King. "Brat, you're courting death." The Black Wolf King was furious. He didn't dare to be careless. He suddenly stood up like a human and transformed into his werewolf form. At the same time, a huge bronze hammer appeared in the Black Wolf King's hands. Boom! The Black Wolf King roared at the sky. He gripped the bronze hammer tightly with both hands and smashed it toward Zhuowen. A stage 6 astral soldier? Zhuowen could naturally tell that the bronze hammer's aura was definitely not weak. It was actually a stage 6 astral soldier. Moreover, during the process of fighting with the Black Wolf King, Zhuowen discovered that the energy used by the Black Wolf King wasn't the power of gods and demons. Instead, it was something even more powerful. Bang! The purple gold divine sword and the bronze hammer fiercely collided. Instantly, sparks flew everywhere like dazzling fireworks. It was extremely dazzling and resplendent. Zhuowen groaned and involuntarily retreated dozens of steps. His expression became quite grave. The Black Wolf King, on the other hand, was as unmoving as a mountain. He looked at Zhuowen with a cold smile and said, "Brat, that's all you've got. You're just relying on a stage 6 astral soldier. Watch how I destroy you today." As he said this, the Black Wolf King charged forward again. Meanwhile, a huge projection of a god and demon appeared behind him. The Black Wolf King released his god and demon, and his aura instantly soared by more than several times. "Destroy me. Black Wolf King, the one who's truly courting death is you." Zhuowen shook his head. He no longer suppressed the god and demon in his body. Suddenly, a rolling purple energy pillar soared into the sky. A huge purple divine tree that seemed to connect heaven and earth appeared in the void behind Zhuowen. On the purple divine tree, there were many ripe purple fruits growing. Meanwhile, Zhuowen's aura also soared by hundreds and thousands of times, and it instantly overshadowed the Black Wolf King. In the instant that the Black Wolf King charged in front of Zhuowen, a purple fruit on the purple divine tree cracked, and a god and demon with 3 heads and 6 arms emerged from within. This god and demon's aura was too terrifying. As soon as it appeared, it sprinted through the air and charged toward the god and demon behind the Black Wolf King. "Die." Zhuowen's eyes were cold. Several hundred divine sense sword intents suddenly slashed out from his glabella and rushed into the Black Wolf King's glabella. At the same time, he had already prepared several heaven-crushing Tier 9 slaughter formations, and they were instantly activated. Rolling killing intent and terrifying energy ripples burst forth, completely engulfing the Black Wolf King. The Black Wolf King finally realized that something was wrong. The several heaven-crushing Tier 9 slaughter formations around him posed a huge threat to him. The Black Wolf King was very decisive. He immediately used his movement technique and planned to retreat first. However, right at this moment, several hundred divine sense sword intents suddenly rushed into his glabella, causing him to falter. He was immediately enveloped by the surrounding slaughter formations. "You actually know a divine sense mystic technique." The Black Wolf King was caught off guard, and his divine sense was immediately severely wounded by the divine sense sword intents. He spat out a mouthful of blood and glared at Zhuowen with shock and fury. Unfortunately, the slaughter formations had already been activated. He could only roar and passively defend himself against the terrifying slaughter formations around him. Is this the power of a half-step ancient star transformation cultivator? Too weak. Zhuowen shook his head and formed an incantation gesture, completely detonating the slaughter formations. The Black Wolf King howled in agony. His entire body was blasted beyond recognition. He struggled to escape from the explosion, but a streak of purple light quickly shot toward him. In the blink of an eye, this streak of purple light pierced through the Black Wolf King's glabella. The Black Wolf King's eyes were fixed on the slowly approaching figure in front of him. Even now, he still couldn't believe that he would die here, at the hands of this young man. "You. Who are you?" Before the Black Wolf King died, it asked unwillingly. He was too arrogant. When he attacked Zhuowen, he didn't even ask for Zhuowen's name. Thus, he still didn't know who Zhuowen was. Chapter 4019. Kaka. Lin Yashan formed a seal with both hands and finally managed to break through Zhuowen's transparent barrier. But before he could rejoice, he discovered that there were even more powerful heaven-crushing Tier 9 arrays within the trap array. His face instantly became incomparably pale. He finally understood how big the gap between him and Zhuowen was. He'd finally managed to break through one array, but Lin Yashan had already set up multiple arrays. Given the speed at which Zhuowen was setting up arrays, he simply couldn't keep up. At that moment, the Black Wolf King's blood-curdling screams rang out from within the array. Lin Yashan was shocked to discover that the Black Wolf King had fallen from the sky and was no longer breathing. At the same time, the Black Wolf King's Godfiend was also defeated by the 3-headed, 6-armed Godfiend. Under their terrified gazes, the Godfiend devoured the Black Wolf King's Godfiend. Is this guy a monster? The Black Wolf King died just like that. The ancient demon of the void was dumbfounded. He looked at Zhuowen with eyes full of fear. Even Yang Xiuya, who had always been very calm, had a trace of strangeness and fear surging in the depths of his calm eyes. "Old man Lin, I can't help you today. I'll take my leave first. The ancient devil of the ancient void was already thinking of retreating. He cupped his fists at Lin Yashan and immediately fled. Ancient devil, you. Lin Yashan's expression changed drastically. He hadn't expected the ancient devil to flee so decisively. What was he going to do now? After all, it was the Lin family who had provoked Zhuowen first. Even if he knelt and begged for mercy, Zhuowen probably wouldn't forgive him. And now, he only had 3 half-step ancient star transformation experts to rely on. If they didn't even dare to face off against Zhuowen, how could the Lin family fight against Zhuowen? After Zhuowen killed the Black Wolf King and took his spirit ring, he discovered that the ancient devil had already fled. You want to run? You'd better stay. Zhuowen shook his head. He took out an array flag and threw it into the void. Immediately, an invisible barrier appeared in the surrounding area, as if there was a transparent piece of glass separating the area from the outside world. Of course, the toughness of this invisible barrier far exceeded that of glass. Bang! The ancient void demon, who had been fleeing, was immediately stopped by this invisible barrier. With an ugly expression, he turned around and coldly looked at Zhuowen in the sky above the Lin clan mountain range. He said in a deep voice, "Fellow Daoist, the grudge between you and the Lin clan has nothing to do with me. Why are you stopping me?" Zhuowen sneered and said, "Weren't you very cocky just now? He didn't even put me in his eyes. What's going on now? You don't even dare to make a move, and you want to run away like a stray dog." The ancient devil of Taishu's face immediately darkened. He was a peerless great devil of his generation and was famous in the Hushu realm. When had he ever been humiliated like this? "Brat, you will pay for your rudeness." The ancient demon Taishu snorted coldly as a vast aura surged around him like a vast ocean. "Yang Xiuya, this brat is not simple. Let's work together to kill him." The ancient devil of Taishu slowly walked to a spot not far from Lin Yashan and looked at Yang Xiuya. When he saw the Black Wolf King die at the hands of Zhuowen, he knew that Zhuowen was extremely difficult to deal with. He had to work together with Yang Xiuya to have a chance of victory. "Yes. I have the same intention." A terrifying aura surged from Yang Xiuya's body. The battle intent in his eyes burned more and more fiercely like a ball of fire. Seeing that Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil of Taishu had reached an agreement, Lin Yashan heaved a sigh of relief. Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil of Taishu had always been at odds. He was worried that the two would not be willing to work together. Now that the Black Wolf King was dead, the two of them had joined forces. This was a blessing in disguise for Lin Yashan. With the strength of Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil of Taishu, this Dao rune cannot be dealt with no matter how strong it is. "This brat is too arrogant. He's dead for sure." Lin Yashan sneered. "Attack." Yang Xiuya hovered in the air. He stomped his right foot, and a rumbling sound came from beneath his feet. Immediately after, a terrifying cloud ring erupted from his feet. As for Yang Xiuya, he was like an arrow that had left the bow as he shot out explosively. At the same time, he unleashed his own godfiend. Yang Xiuya's godly demon was a martial divine cultivator wearing a large robe. Its entire body shone with a blazing golden light, as if it was plated with gold. The ancient devil of Taishu also released his godly demon. His godly demon was a large expanse of black fog. In the depths of the black fog, a pair of scarlet eyes erupted with a blazing red light. The two half-step ancient star transformations used all their strength to attack Zhuowen. They did not show any signs of holding back. Both Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil of Taishu had extremely powerful rank 6 astral weapons. Yang Xiuya's rank 6 astral weapon was a pair of silk gloves, while the ancient devil of Taishu's was a large blade burning with black flames. Martial divine fist. Yang Xiuya's aura was too terrifying. He merged with his godly demon, and his strength soared to an extremely terrifying level. Then, he punched out, and divine power poured out in torrents. The ancient devil of Taishu let out a piercing howl. He clasped his hands together and slashed out with his large blade. Instantly, terrifying black flames surged into the sky. Then, a terrifying blade of light broke through the black flames and slashed towards Zhuowen. The two attacks were too terrifying. When they were unleashed together, it was as if the entire sky would collapse. Lin Yashan watched this scene from afar. His face paled in fright, but his heart was wild with joy. In his opinion, with these two terrifying attacks combined, Zhuowen would be heavily injured even if he did not die. Zhuowen's eyes were cold. He did not seem to see these two attacks. The purple divine tree floating behind him suddenly emitted a blazing purple divine light, forming a purple barrier around Zhuowen. Immediately after, the ancient devil of Taishu and Lin Yashan's attacks slammed into the purple barrier formed by the purple divine tree. Then, the ancient devil of Taishu and Yang Xiuya were shocked to find that their full-strength attacks were unable to break through the purple barrier. How is this possible? The ancient devil of Taishu and Yang Xiuya cried out in shock. Zhuowen's gaze also revealed a trace of strangeness. After this period of time, he had become somewhat familiar with his godly demon. However, this was the first time he had actually used it. The power of this godly demon was so strong that it made him feel terrified. The full-powered attacks of two half-step ancient star transformation experts had been easily blocked by the divine tree. With a thought from Zhuowen, the 4 purple fruits on the divine tree burst open, and 4 three-headed, 6-armed godly demons charged out. Roar. Chapter 40-20. How is this possible? Your godfiend can actually give birth to new godfiends. Yang Xiuya was truly shocked. Zhuowen's godfiend was simply too strange. Not only was it a very strange tree, but it could also give birth to new godfiends. This simply went against the principles of the godfiend transformation. However, Yang Xiuya and the ancient void demon didn't even have time to be shocked because the 2 three-headed, 6-armed godfiends had already arrived in front of them and unleashed terrifying attacks. So strong. Yang Xiuya and the ancient void demon were immediately suppressed by the 2 godfiends. They were both shocked and furious. Furthermore, the 2 of them were horrified to discover that these 2 godfiends were simply unkillable cockroaches. Their rank 6 astral weapons had shattered their limbs, but they could still rapidly regenerate and continue to fight to the death. Today, all of you will die. Zhuowen stepped on air and slowly walked through the void. 3 more purple fruits on the purple tree behind him cracked. The 3 three-headed, 6-armed godfiends roared as they charged at Yang Xiuya and the ancient void demon. Originally, the 2 of them were already exhausted from dealing with 2 godfiends. Now, there were 3 more godfiends. The pressure on them greatly increased, and they were all injured. They were in an extremely sorry state. Zhuowen didn't even look at Yang Xiuya and the other 2. He knew that with the 5 godfiends working together, Yang Xiuya and the ancient void demon wouldn't be able to last long. There was no need for him to do anything. His gaze landed on the dumbfounded Lin Yashan not far away. At this moment, Lin Yashan was truly dumbfounded. He was like an ice sculpture, standing motionless on the spot. When he felt Zhuowen's gaze, his body trembled and he collapsed to the ground in fright. Brother Dao Wen, I was blind and offended you. Please spare my life. Lin Yashan knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Zhuowen. Zhuowen walked in front of Lin Yashan and coldly looked down at him. He smiled faintly and said, Lin Yashan, you think too much of yourself. I came to the Lin family with sincerity. Unfortunately, you and the Lin family are too greedy. Now, it's time for you to pay the price for your greed. Zhuowen raised his finger and tapped on Lin Yashan's forehead. Lin Yashan was restrained by an invisible force of array Dao. He could not move at all. He could only watch as Zhuowen's finger got closer and closer to his forehead. When Zhuowen withdrew his finger, Lin Yashan's eyes became empty and lifeless. Then, he tilted his head and fell heavily to the ground. His soul had been completely destroyed by Zhuowen. When the upper echelons of the Lin family around the Lin mountain range saw Lin Yashan being killed by Zhuowen with a single finger, they all let out mournful wails. But more than that, he was afraid of Zhuowen. Even Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil Taishu, who were half-step ancient star transformation experts, were no match for him. If that person wanted to wipe out the entire Lin family, it would be a piece of cake. Bang bang. At the same time, 2 figures fell to the ground in an extremely sorry state, smashing out 2 deep pits. When the upper echelons of the Lin family saw this, they all widened their eyes in horror. The 2 figures were none other than Yang Xiuya and the ancient devil Taishu. The 2 of them were heavily injured and lying in the pits, gasping for breath. Lin Longyao's face was pale and his body trembled. He had not expected things to turn out like this. Plop! Lin Longyao suddenly knelt on the ground and bowed to Zhuowen. Lord Dao Wen, this is all my fault. If you want to kill someone, kill me. I beg you to let the Lin family off. The moment Lin Longyao knelt, Lin Danshan and the other upper echelons of the Lin family also knelt and kowtowed to Zhuowen. They begged for mercy. Zhuowen looked down coldly at Lin Longyao and said indifferently, Lin Longyao, I've already said that I have no enmity with your Lin family. I'm only here to borrow your Lin family's heaven-breaking 9-stage array Dao book. From beginning to end, I've always done things according to the rules. Unfortunately, the Lin family wants to kill me. Since you're willing to take the blame for the Lin family, then kill yourself in front of me. Lin Longyao slowly raised his head, his face drained of all color. Fine. As long as you let the Lin family go, I'm willing to kill myself. With that, Lin Longyao clasped his hands together and slammed them between his eyebrows. A terrifying power exploded, and Lin Longyao's divine soul was crushed by him. His eyes were lifeless, and he fell to the ground. Family head. The upper echelons of the Lin family cried out in grief. Where is Lin Danshan? Zhuowen spoke slowly with a calm expression. Lin Longyao's death didn't affect him at all. This person had targeted him many times and even participated in the plan to kill him. Zhuowen would never tolerate enemies who wanted to kill him. Lin Danshan walked out trembling. He looked at Zhuowen in terror and said in a low voice, This lowly one is here. Lord Dao Wen, what are your orders? Where are the Heavenly Demon King and Hybrid Demon King locked up? Zhuowen asked coldly. They're locked up in the depths of the Lin family's dungeon, Lin Danshan said honestly. Zhuowen nodded and didn't say anything else. Instead, he walked up to the ancient demon of the void and Yang Xiuya and took their spirit rings without hesitation. Yang Xiuya was furious, but Zhuowen responded with a kick that made him spit out blood. Then, Zhuowen took the silk gloves off Yang Xiuya's hands without hesitation. Yang Xiuya was so angry that he almost fainted. The ancient demon of the void was very cooperative. He didn't dare to be presumptuous and obediently allowed Zhuowen to take his spirit ring and rank 6 astral weapon. Now, I'll give the 2 of you a chance. Submit to me and hand over your divine soul marks. Otherwise, die. Zhuowen said indifferently. Who do you think you are? You want me to submit to you? What a joke. When I dominated the Hushu realm, you weren't even born yet. Yang Xiuya said arrogantly. Then you've really lived like a dog all these years. You're still a defeated opponent. Since you're not willing to submit, then you can die. Zhuowen didn't hesitate at all. His right hand formed a sword and pointed at Yang Xiuya's forehead. You dare to kill me? Yang Xiuya was still in disbelief. He was killed so easily. Chapter 40-21. Master. The ancient demon of Taishu's face was ashen. He was a peerless great demon and had dominated the Hushu region for countless years. Now, he had become someone's servant. However, the ancient demon of Taishu did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. He stood respectfully beside Zhuowen, his eyes filled with fear and respect. The young man in front of him looked ordinary and his cultivation was not as high as his, but he was so powerful that he feared him. He was completely convinced that Zhuowen was his master. Zhuowen nodded and slowly walked towards Lin Danshan. Lin Danshan hurriedly knelt on the ground and trembled. He did not dare to look up at Zhuowen. The rest of the Lin family members prostrated themselves on the ground and did not make a sound. Among the Lin family members, the one with the most complicated feelings was Lin Fuxin, the daughter of Lin Danshan. When Zhuowen first came to the Lin family, she had noticed Zhuowen. At first, she did not believe Zhuowen when he claimed to be the master of the Sky Devil Demon King and the Hybrid Demon King. She also did not believe Zhuowen when he claimed that he could pass the 100th level of the formation pagoda. However, Zhuowen did not refute. He used his actions to prove that he was right. The Sky Devil Demon King and the Hybrid Demon King revered him like a god. Zhuowen had even passed the 100th level of the formation pagoda, shocking the entire Lin family. Now, the guy she had thought was bragging had shocked the world and forced the entire Lin family to bow to him. Master, do you want me to help you destroy the Lin family? Before Zhuowen could speak, the ancient demon of Taishu whispered. His eyes flashed with hatred. If Lin Yashan had not summoned him, he would not have ended up like this. He would not have become Zhuowen's servant and his life was in someone else's hands. Lin Danshan and the rest of the Lin family members were all trembling in fear. After losing Lin Yashan and Lin Longyaro, the Lin family had completely fallen from a top faction to an ordinary one. It would be difficult for them to establish themselves in the Radiant Mist main region. With the ancient demon of Taishu's strength, he could destroy the entire Lin family by himself. Did I allow you to speak? Zhuowen coldly glanced at the ancient void demon. The latter's heart trembled, and he quickly lowered his head. Lin Danshan, if you can make the entire Lin clan submit to me, then you will be the new Lin clan leader. If anyone dares to disobey, kill without mercy. Zhuowen said coolly. Lin Danshan prostrated himself on the ground and said respectfully, I, Lin Danshan, am willing to serve you. The Lin family will not go against you anymore. The Lin family will belong to you from now on. The rest of the Lin family members also bowed their heads. No one dared to refuse. Bring me to your Lin clan's dungeon now, Zhuowen said calmly. Lin Danshan bowed and hurriedly led Zhuowen to the dungeon in the depths of the Lin family. He didn't dare to be negligent. The news of Lin Longyaro and Lin Yashan's deaths spread throughout the Lin family in a short period of time. Everyone in the Lin family was shocked. Although some of the Lin family members were dissatisfied, under the bloody suppression of Lin Danshan's faction, the Lin family was as silent as cicadas in winter. They all acknowledged that Zhuowen was the true Lin clan leader. When Zhuowen was brought to the dungeon in the depths of the Lin family, he found that the Heavenly Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King were on the verge of death. Their bodies were bound by extremely powerful restrictions. Zhuowen's eyes grew colder. He waved his sleeve, and the restrictions on the two were instantly broken. Lin Danshan's eyes were filled with even more respect when he saw Zhuowen's move. The restrictions on the Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King had been personally set by Lin Yashan. Even a mid-stage heaven-breaking level 9 formation master would have to spend some effort to break them. However, Zhuowen had completely broken them with a wave of his sleeve. Without a doubt, Zhuowen's formation skills were far above Lin Yashan's. Originally, Lin Danshan was a bit dissatisfied that Zhuowen had become the Lin family leader. The Lin family wasn't a family of cultivators, but of formations. They didn't care much for cultivators and only respected powerful formation masters. Zhuowen's strength could only make the Lin family submit on the surface. But now, Zhuowen's powerful array formation skills had completely convinced the Lin family clansmen behind him. Master, why are you here? The Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King struggled to their feet. They were shocked to see Zhuowen appear outside the dungeon. Master is here to save you. The ancient void demon snorted. You're the ancient void demon? Only then did Heavenly Demon Evil King and Hybrid Demon King notice the peerless demon behind Zhuowen. They immediately recognized the latter's identity and revealed a shocked expression. The ancient void demon was a true almighty of the demon race. As a member of the demon race, the Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King naturally knew about the ancient void demon. They even had deep respect and fear for the ancient void demon. Master, it's just two little demons with impure bloodlines. It's beneath your dignity to take them as servant. The ancient void demon king glanced at the Hybrid Demon King and the Sky Fiend King with disdain. The Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King were angry, but they didn't dare say anything. The ancient void demon was right. The demon race was very particular about bloodlines. Compared to the ancient void demon, their bloodlines were indeed inferior. Although the Sky Fiend King was also a half-step ancient star transformation, he was no match for the ancient void demon. This was the difference in strength caused by the difference in bloodlines. Ancient void demon, are you the master or am I the master? Zhuowen turned around and looked at the ancient void demon behind him with a faint smile. The ancient void demon's expression changed and he quickly lowered his head. Just as he was about to speak, he felt as if his head was about to explode. Master, spare me. Spare me. This lowly one won't dare to speak again. The ancient demon of void clutched his head and rolled on the ground in a wretched state. He screamed in pain and begged Zhuowen for mercy. His spiritual imprint was in Zhuowen's hands. If Zhuowen wanted to use it to punish the ancient void demon, it would be too easy. The Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King weren't fools. They immediately saw that the ancient void demon had been subdued by Zhuowen. As expected of Master. Even an existence like the ancient void demon has been subdued by him. The Sky Fiend King and the Hybrid Demon King admired Zhuowen to the point of prostrating themselves on all fours. Zhuowen withdrew his divine sense and the ancient void demon's screams stopped. He struggled to stand up and obediently stood beside Zhuowen, not daring to speak anymore. Zhuowen ignored the ancient void demon and said to Lin Danshan, take the two of them to recuperate for a while. I plan to stay in the Imperial Library for a while longer. If there's nothing else, it's best not to disturb me. After Zhuowen finished speaking, he took a step forward and disappeared. Chapter 4022. When Lin Yashan activated the array formations in the Lin Clan mountain range, Zhuowen had already set up a powerful defensive array formation in the array formation Imperial Book Pavilion. Therefore, although the battle in the Lin Clan mountain range was extremely terrifying, it was as if the heavens and earth were about to collapse. In the end, the formation Dao Imperial Library survived without any damage. I'm really looking forward to the surprise that the item in the 10th district of the Imperial Library will bring me. Zhuowen's eyes shone brightly as he walked step by step into the formation Dao Imperial Library. When Zhuowen entered the formation Dao Imperial Library to cultivate in seclusion, what happened in the Lin Clan swept through the entire Radiant Mist main region like a storm. Even the major forces in the other main regions of the Radiant Mist main region heard about it and were all shocked by the news. Especially when they heard that Yang Xiuya, the ancient devil Taishu, and the Black Wolf King, two of the three great half-step ancient star transformation experts, had died and one of them had voluntarily surrendered. The three of them were the most powerful experts outside of the Hushu clan. Their reputations were not limited to the Radiant Mist main region. Many major forces in the main region would turn pale when they talked about the three experts. They were extremely fearful. But now, these three supreme powerhouses had all been killed. Moreover, the one who killed them was a young man who had never been heard of before. How could the crowd not be shocked? Soon after, many forces came to their senses and began guessing Zhuowen's true identity. When the news spread to the Radiant Mist main region, Long Duzi of the Longdo Shengzon, Heavenly Star Saint Lord of the Heavenly Star Shengzon, and Qinghuan Fairy of the Blue Phoenix Shengzon immediately gathered for a meeting. In the end, the three of them decided to make Hongwu Shengzon the #1 sect in the Radiant Mist main region. Moreover, the three sects also gave many precious resources and treasures as compensation to rope in Hongwu Shengzon. The happiest person was none other than Hongwu Shengzon's sect master, Gui Jing. He did not expect Zhuowen to cause such a huge commotion and become famous not long after he went to Minglan main region. During this period of time, he had been busy receiving the leaders of the major forces from the Liyuan main region. Moreover, some major forces from other main regions had also heard the news and came over to befriend Hongwu Shengzon and used this opportunity to get acquainted with Zhuowen. Gui Jing silently looked at the endless stream of people in Hongwu Shengzon. Her eyes were filled with surprise and complicated emotions. He knew that it was all because of Zhuowen that Hongwu Shengzon had such a grand occasion today. Zhuowen, thank you. Gui Jing raised her head and looked in the direction of the Radiant Mist main region as she muttered softly. At the same time, the name of Zhuowen had also spread to Huxley's palace on the Sacred Mountain. Oh! A new guy called Dao Wen has risen in Minglan main region. Even Lin Yashan, Yang Xiuya, and the Black Wolf King were killed by him? In a huge palace, a stalwart figure sat on the throne. In front of the throne, a trembling servant knelt there and answered hurriedly, "Yes, the news has just arrived. I came to report it immediately." The young man sitting on the throne had a handsome face. His feather robe shone with a sparkling and translucent light, as if it was made of stars. His aura was very powerful, as deep as the ocean. His eyes were very bright, more dazzling than the stars. His skin was as flawless as jade. This person was Huxley's new king Valurium, Luke. Luke was a rising star in Huxley. He was once one of the 3 geniuses in Huxley. Later on, after he came back from the lower realm, his cultivation had suddenly skyrocketed at an incredible speed and reached a level that defied the natural order. He had surpassed the other 2 geniuses and finally became Huxley's 9th king, King Valurium. I once suffered a loss at the hands of the ancient devil of Taishu. I haven't settled the score yet. This ancient devil of Taishu is also very cunning. Ever since he knew that I had broken through to the ancient star transformation, he has been hiding everywhere. I can't find him at all. Now that I have shown my true self, it's time for me to settle the score. Luke's eyes became colder and colder. An icy aura suddenly erupted. The servant who was kneeling on the ground trembled when he came in contact with this aura. His face was pale and bloodless. "Help me arrange a teleportation array. I want to go to Minglan Main Region's Lin family." Luke slowly stood up. His eyes shone with an unbearable light as he said calmly, "Yes, my lord." The servant who was kneeling on the ground said in a low voice and then slowly retreated. In the Imperial Library of Formations, in the 10th zone, Zhuoan sat cross-legged. In the air above his head, there was a ball of light surrounded by dense thunderbolts. At this moment, the ball of lightning was twisting violently as Zhuoan continuously formed hand seals. It was as if some invisible hand was trying to tear off the lightning on the surface of the ball of light. Zhuoan frowned slightly. The restriction within the ball of light was too powerful. Even though his formation Dao had reached the peak of the heaven-breaking stage 9, he still couldn't completely break the restriction. Zhuoan knew that the restriction above should have surpassed the heaven-breaking stage 9 level. If he hadn't discovered the flaw in the restriction in advance, he wouldn't have been confident that he could successfully break it. However, with this flaw, Zhuoan believed that as long as he was given enough time, he would definitely be able to smoothly break it. Time passed day by day. In the process of breaking the ball of light, Zhuoan's understanding of formation Dao deepened. Finally, on the 10th day, Zhuoan suddenly opened his eyes. He formed hand seals with both hands and then put his palms together as if he was raising the sky. His palms faced the ball of light. At this moment, the ball of light that was constantly flickering with lightning seemed to have stopped in time. Then, traces of cracks appeared on the surface of the ball of light. Moreover, these cracks grew larger and larger until they covered the entire surface of the ball of light. Crack. In the end, the blue ball of light burst open. The ancient book that was wrapped inside also fell and was caught by Zhuoan's right hand. The cover of this ancient book was very simple. On the cover were the words Heaven Mending Catalogue. Zhuoan flipped open this ancient book. After silently skimming through a portion of the book, his expression suddenly became serious. Then, he laughed loudly. It's actually a Formation Dao ancient book that surpasses the heaven-breaking stage. I really didn't expect that a mere Lin family would have such a supreme Formation Dao ancient book. Zhuoan was wild with joy. A Formation Dao ancient book that surpassed the heaven-breaking stage. Even in the entire Hushu realm, it was probably very rare. Chapter 4023. It's a pity that the Heaven Mender catalogue is incomplete. It's not the complete version, Zhuoan sighed softly. In the process of flipping through the Heaven Mender catalogue, he discovered that it was incomplete, and very incomplete at that. Even with Zhuoan's heaven-defying perception, it would be difficult for him to gain more insights from the incomplete Heaven Mender catalogue. Perhaps the primordial stone can deduce the contents of the Heaven Mender catalogue. Zhuoan took out 2 stones enshrouded in purple light from the outside world. They were the Great Word Stone and the Great Word Stone. The 2 purple stones revolved around the Heaven Mender catalogue continuously. The purple light spread out like a faint halo, completely enveloping the Heaven Mender catalogue. Zhuoan discovered that as the purple stones revolved, cryptic and profound words emerged from the Heaven Mender catalogue. Zhuoan's eyes lit up. He discovered that these words were not the characters of the main body of the Heaven Mender catalogue, but the remaining contents of the incomplete Heaven Mender catalogue. Zhuoan was intoxicated by the new content that had been deduced, and his eyes revealed a look of enlightenment. While Zhuoan was studying the Skymender catalogue, Valurium King Luke led 2 powerful cultivators into the transportation formation leading to Brightmist's main region. Greetings, King Valurium. When Luke walked out of the transportation formation in the Radiant Mist main region, the cultivator in charge of the transportation formation knelt beside the formation and said in a trembling voice. He was just a nobody in charge of the transportation formation in the Radiant Mist main region. The difference between him and an existence like King Valurium was too great. When he learned that King Valurium was going to be transported to the Radiant Mist main region, his heart was filled with fear. Luke glanced at the young cultivator indifferently and asked, "Do you know the specific address of the Lin family in the Radiant Mist main region?" "I know." The young cultivator braced himself and answered. "Good, then follow me to the Lin family. Lead the way." As Luke spoke, he waved his sleeve. Suddenly, a gust of wind whistled past. A majestic divine ship appeared in the sky. The young cultivator smiled bitterly. He didn't dare to refuse and could only follow Luke into the divine ship. The divine ship let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, it shot out toward the distant horizon. As for the other people in charge of the teleportation array and the cultivators coming and going, they were discussing animatedly. Their expressions were filled with bewilderment. "This is King Valurium, one of the new 9 kings of Huxley. Why would such a distinguished figure come to our Bright Mist Overlord region? Didn't you hear what Valurium said? He probably wanted to go to the Lin clan for the Dao rune. After all, the Dao rune had caused a huge commotion in the Lin clan. Huxley is going to do something about it." A few days later, King Valurium's divine ship appeared in the sky above Lingyun City, where the Lin family resided. Countless cultivators in Lingyun City raised their heads to look at the sky. All of them had strange expressions on their faces. Lingyun City was one of the largest cities in the Radiant Mist main region. Most of the divine ships that came to Lingyun City would stop outside the city and put away the divine ships. Only then could the cultivators enter Lingyun City. Moreover, the sky above Lingyun City was set up with a great anti-flight formation. It was basically impossible for ordinary divine ships to fly directly above Lingyun City. Once they did, they would immediately fall and be destroyed. But now, this divine ship had ignored the anti-flight formation of Lingyun City. Everyone understood that the owner of this divine ship was probably not an ordinary person. "Where is the person in charge of the Lin clan? My master, King Valurium, one of the 9 kings of Huxley, has personally come to Lingyun City. Quickly come out and greet him." On the deck of the divine ship, a middle-aged man beside Luke walked to the bow of the ship. His voice was like thunder, echoing inside and outside Lingyun City. It was so loud that it hurt the ears of many cultivators. "Huxley's King Valurium. Heavens, why would such a great figure come to our Lingyun City?" The dissatisfied cultivators of Lingyun City changed their expressions when they heard King Valurium's name. They lowered their heads, not daring to look at the divine ship in the sky. Huxley was the true ruler of the Huxley realm. He controlled everyone's fate. It was no exaggeration to say that if Huxley were to take action, almost no force in the Huxley realm could withstand Huxley's crushing power. Now, King Valurium, one of the 9 kings of Huxley, had come in person. Many people panicked. They did not know why King Valurium was here. Lin Danshan, who was handling affairs in the Lin family, changed his expression when he heard the voice. He quickly gathered the upper echelons of the Lin family and hurried to the center of Lingyun City. Demon King and Demon King also heard the commotion. They looked at each other and wanted to join in the fun. However, They were stopped by ancient demon Taishu. They saw that ancient demon Taishu's expression was very ugly. His body was faintly trembling. They were very confused. Ancient demon Taishu, what's wrong? Demon King asked. Ancient demon Taishu said seriously, we must not go out. We need to hide immediately and completely conceal our aura. What happened? Demon King frowned and asked. King Valurium and I have some grudges in the past. He suffered a great loss at my hands. I'm afraid that he has come for me. You can't go out. Otherwise, not only will I be in trouble, the two of you will also be in danger. Ancient demon Taishu said. Ancient demon Taishu said. Demon King and Demon King's expression changed. They did not expect Huxley's King Valurium to come for Ancient Demon Taishu. Ancient Demon Taishu, why didn't you say so earlier? Now that he has come for you, you're telling us. Demon King said angrily. Because of Ancient Demon Taishu, they had provoked one of the 9 kings of Huxley. Demon King and Demon King were very angry. Ancient Demon Taishu also felt that he was in the wrong and did not refute. Instead, he said calmly, now is not the time for us to fight among ourselves. The most important thing now is to hide. Although King Valurium is the weakest of the 9 kings of Huxley, he has just advanced. Ancient star transformation, he is very strong. Demon King and Demon King were very helpless. Although they knew that Zhuoan would come for Huxley sooner or later, they did not expect to have a conflict with Huxley's people so early. Let's go to Lin Mountain Range. Master has set up several extremely powerful formations there. Moreover, Master himself is in the Imperial Library of Formation Dao in the mountain range. That is the safest place. Demon King suggested. Can we go in? Ancient Demon Taishu asked. Before Master went into seclusion, he gave me a formation flag just in case. Now it can be used. Demon King took out a small black flag and said in a deep voice. Chapter 4024. Lin Danshan led a group of senior members of the Lin family. They stopped a few dozen meters away from the ship and bowed respectfully. The current head of the Lin family, Lin Danshan, greets Emperor Helksu. Lin Danshan bowed. He was curious. Huxley rarely cared about the affairs of the other overlords. Even the important people of Huxley rarely came to the other overlords. Now that Emperor Helksu had come to the Lin family in person, Lin Danshan was very confused. A ladder descended from the deck of the ship. A handsome young man in a feathered robe with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes slowly walked down the stairs while being escorted by 2 cultivators with powerful auras. 2 half-step ancient star transformation cultivators. Lin Danshan immediately noticed that the 2 cultivators on either side of the handsome young man were half-step ancient star transformation stage cultivators. The young man from the Yi family was surrounded by 2 cultivators, and his aura was as deep as a bottomless abyss, making it impossible to see through him. However, Lin Danshan knew that the young man in the feathered robe was the famous Emperor Helksu. He was a true elite of Huxley. Luke slowly walked in front of Lin Danshan. His beautiful eyes swept over Lin Danshan indifferently as he said casually, "You're called Lin Danshan, right? I heard that something happened to the Lin family recently. Is that true?" Lin Danshan was even more confused. The Lin family had never had any dealings with Emperor Helksu. Not only did Emperor Helksu come, but he also asked about the Lin family. However, Lin Danshan didn't dare to be negligent. He recounted everything that had happened, including the new master of the Lin family, Dao Wen. Luke frowned when he heard that. Luke knew that this guy called Dao Wen wasn't ordinary from what Lin Danshan had said. He was only at the mid-stage demonic transformation, but his battle prowess was terrifying. 3 half-step ancient star transformation cultivators and a heaven-breaking level 9 formation master were no match for him. Luke's eyes shone brightly when he heard that Dao Wen was a peak heaven-breaking level 9 formation master. Even Huxley didn't have a divine array master of this level. Huxley only had 2 heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao divine masters, but one of them was only at the mid-stage of heaven-breaking level 9, and the other was at the late stage of heaven-breaking level 9. This is a talent. Once we deal with the ancient void demon, I'll have him join me, Huxley. Huxley, won't mistreat him, Luke said calmly. Lin Danshan hurriedly nodded and bowed. His heart was filled with ecstasy. The Lin family's ancestor, Lin Yashan, had a high level of array formation skills and had always wanted to join Huxley. Unfortunately, Huxley had not accepted. After all, Lin Yashan's array Dao level could only be considered to be at the bottom of the heaven-breaking Tier 9. His lifespan had also reached its end, so he didn't have much potential. However, Dao Wen was different. From Lin Danshan's words, Luke knew that Dao Wen was very young. He might not even be 10,000 years old. Such a young heaven-breaking level 9 formation Dao Divine Master was probably the only one in the entire Hashu realm. Luke naturally didn't plan to let go of such a genius. Patriarch Lin, I've come today to settle our past grudges. Before I became a king, I had a battle with the ancient void demon and suffered a great loss. I heard that the ancient void demon is still in your Lin family. Is that true? Luke asked in a forceful tone. Lin Danshan froze and felt his scalp go numb. He thought that Luke was really well informed. Then he remembered that the ancient void demon was Zhuowen's servant. If he handed the ancient void demon over without permission, he would suffer when Zhuowen came out of seclusion. After the battle at the Lin family, Zhuowen had completely established an imposing image of an invincible legend in Lin Danshan's heart. Even though he was facing King Hushu Valurium now, he was still filled with respect for Zhuowen. Is there a problem? Luke saw the hesitation in Lin Danshan's eyes and his tone became heavier. He was slightly displeased. My lord, to be honest, the ancient void demon has already recognized Lord Dao Wen as his master. His now Lord Dao Wen's servant. If you touch the ancient void demon, I'm afraid you'll anger Lord Dao Wen, Lin Danshan said softly. Luke sneered. What a joke. I'm one of the 9 kings of Huxley. I have the entire Huxley behind me. Do I need Dao Wen's permission to take someone down? I was able to invite him to join the Hushu clan because of his ancestors' help. Lin Danshan lowered his head deeply, not daring to refute Luke. After all, the latter had Huxley behind him. No matter how strong Zhuowen was, he was only one person. How could he compare to a colossus like Huxley? The ancient void demon is in the Lin family. My lord, just follow me to the Lin family. Lin Danshan smiled bitterly. Lead the way, Luke said proudly with his hands behind his back. The group entered the Lin family in a grandiose manner. Soon, Lin Danshan ordered someone to invite the ancient void demon. The report he received was that the ancient void demon was no longer in the Lin family. What? The ancient void demon, the sky fiend demon king, and the hybrid demon king are all not in their residence. Lin Danshan frowned when he received the report in the Lin family's main hall. Luke, who was sitting in the main seat in the hall, was unmoved. He had a half-smile on his face. Patriarch, I saw the ancient void demon and the other 2 leave the Lin family for the Lin family's mountain reign. An elder suddenly said softly. Lin Danshan's eyes flashed. The ancient void demon had sensed Luke's arrival and had gone to seek refuge in advance. The Lin family's mountain range had become a forbidden area for the Lin family. That was where Zhuowen cultivated in seclusion. No one dared to barge in. Interesting. The Lin family's mountain range? Patriarch Lin, why aren't you taking me there? Luke said calmly. Lin Danshan hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and nodded. After all, Luke was one of the 9 kings of Huxley. He wasn't someone he could afford to offend. He didn't dare refuse his request. Lin Danshan had already decided that he would bear the consequences alone. He was prepared to die. As such, he was the only one who had brought Luke to the Lin family's mountain range. The rest of the Lin family had been ordered to stay in the Lin family's residence. They are here. In a basin in the Lin family's mountain range, the ancient void demon's expression was grave. The Sky Fiend Demon King and the Hybrid Demon King stood next to the ancient void demon. Their divine senses had also detected 4 figures in the distance. Of the 4, they only recognized Lin Danshan. The other 3 were unfamiliar to them. However, when they sensed the three's auras, they almost cried out in shock. 2 half-step ancient star transformation cultivators. The other's aura is even more obscure and powerful. Could he be Valurium King Hushu? Chapter 40-25. That's right. His king Valurium. He just broke through to the ancient star transformation and was conferred the title of king by Huxley. Ancient devil Taishu's body trembled, and his voice was filled with fear. The heavenly devil evil king and hybrid demon king's faces turned ugly. Jiyu Xing was much stronger than them. To put it bluntly, an ancient star transformation cultivator could kill a half-step ancient star transformation cultivator as easily as killing an ant. Luke stopped at the outskirts of the Lin Mountain range. His 2 subordinates followed behind him respectfully. Lin Danshan stood at the side with his head lowered. His eyes were filled with fear and respect. Ancient devil Taishu, I've already found you. Are you still going to hide inside? Luke put his hands behind his back and spoke slowly. His voice was like a thunderclap that filled the Lin Mountain range. It was majestic and domineering. As soon as Luke finished speaking, the Lin Mountain range fell into silence. No one answered. Ancient devil Taishu, don't be so shameless. It's your honor that our king Valurium has personally come to greet you. Hurry up and come out and kneel before our king. A skinny old man beside Luke shouted with a displeased expression. Finally, there was a voice in the Lin Mountain range. 3 figures appeared in the corridor of the mountain gate. The one in the lead was ancient devil Taishu. The ancient demon of Taishu stared fixedly at Luke. Valurium King, the battle between you and me was unavoidable. Apart from that, we have no other grievances. Why do you insist on holding on to me? Luke sneered. That battle back then was my humiliation. Now that I've learned enough, I'm going to wash away that humiliation. Ancient devil Taishu, I'll give you a chance. Come out now and I won't kill you. I'll only cripple your cultivation. Ancient devil Taishu's face darkened. Cripple his cultivation? What was the difference between that and killing him? King Valurium, I know you're not the same as before, but don't forget that there's always someone stronger. My master, Dao Wen, is definitely not weaker than you. In fact, he's even stronger than you. If you anger him, you'll be the one to suffer. The ancient devil of Taishu said in a low voice. Luke laughed loudly and said, Ancient void demon, you must be out of your mind. What was this Dao rune? How dare you compare yourself to me? If I wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. Luke's expression turned cold as he continued, Ancient void demon, my patience is limited. If you don't come out now, then don't blame me for capturing you personally. When that time comes, I'll kill you. Ancient demon Taishu didn't say anything else. Instead, he led Sky Devil Evil King and Hybrid Demon King back into the Lin Mountain range. There was no doubt that he had made his intentions known by his actions. Good. Since that's the case, you better be prepared to be killed by me. Luke was so angry that he laughed instead. He took a step forward, and suddenly, a vast aura burst out like the ocean. Lin Danshan, who was standing not far from Luke, fell to his knees with a thump. His face was filled with pain. The ancient star transformation's aura was too terrifying. Lin Danshan was suppressed to the point where he couldn't even stand. Boom! Luke took a step forward, and instantly, a terrifying mist exploded in the surrounding space. It was as if countless bombs had exploded, and the space seemed to have been torn into pieces. In the blink of an eye, Luke appeared in front of the Lin Mountain range. An invisible barrier appeared in front of Luke, preventing him from moving forward. Heaven-breaking Tier 9 array? Luke narrowed his eyes. He finally knew why Ancient Void Demon was hiding in the Lin Mountain range. It turned out that there was such a powerful array around the Lin Mountain range. However, so what if it's a heaven-breaking Tier 9 array? Watch how I break it. Luke didn't care. His right fist burst out with a blazing golden light as he punched out. It was as if a resplendent sun had struck. With a rumbling explosion, the invisible barrier around them rippled violently. The surrounding space was also affected by this terrifying energy, and one terrifying black hole after another exploded in the space around them. In less than 3 breaths of time, the invisible barrier collapsed. It couldn't block Luke's attack at all. A heaven-breaking Tier 9 array is only SOSO. Luke sneered as he stepped into the mountain gate. But soon, his expression changed because the hole in the invisible barrier that he had punched closed in an instant. In addition to that, terrifying killing intent appeared inside the formation. These murderous intents locked onto him. Then, a terrifying energy burst out from all directions and engulfed him in the blink of an eye. Damn it, this isn't a simple heaven-breaking Tier 9 array. It's luring the enemy in. Luke immediately knew that he had been tricked. Without thinking, he used his strongest ability, the invulnerable glass body. Luke's aura surged again. His entire body flowed with the luster of glass. Bang! 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 Terrifying attacks landed on Luke one after another. They all produced the sounds of metal colliding, and extremely dense sparks. It was an extremely frightening sight. Luke was as immovable as a mountain. Although the attacks of the array were terrifying, they didn't affect his invulnerable glass body much. However, what made him frown was that after entering the array, the scenery around him had completely changed. It had become empty, and he had no sense of direction at all. He didn't know where to go to leave this great array. Oh no, King Valurium is in danger. The Lin Mountain Range's array was set up by Lord Dao Wen, his Epic heaven-breaking Tier 9 Divine Formation Master. Lin Danshan's expression changed drastically when he saw the ripples on both sides of the mountain gate close again after Luke entered. Don't worry, House Lord Lin. My master has already made preparations after knowing that Dao Wen might be a peak heaven-breaking Tier 9 Divine Formation Master. One of Luke's 2 subordinates, the white-haired elder, wasn't worried at all. Lin Danshan frowned. He was still a little worried, but since Luke's servant was so confident, his worries were a little unnecessary. At this moment, within the Lin Mountain Range, the ancient demon, the celestial demon king, and the hybrid demon king were standing at the edge of a mountain not far from the Imperial Library of Formations. They naturally noticed Luke, who had barged into the Lin Mountain Range. Luke is too confident. Our master has set up several powerful heaven-breaking Tier 9 arrays in the Lin Mountain Range. So what if he has the ancient star transformation? It's impossible for him to break through such a large array, the ancient demon said confidently. The celestial demon king and the hybrid demon king nodded. In their hearts, Zhuowen's existence was already deified. Crack, crack, crack. Suddenly, as soon as the ancient demon of the void finished speaking, cracks appeared on the surface of the array, as if it had been shattered by some extremely powerful force. Chapter 4026. This star was shining with golden light, and it was surrounded by a dense number of golden divine weapons as it took shape. An intense killing intent emanated from the golden star, causing the 3 to tremble and almost collapse to the ground. After the golden star charged out of the array, the crisp sound of footsteps could be heard. Luke, whose body was glowing with a glazed luster, slowly walked out. His eyes were bright and full of vigor, and they were filled with a brilliant light that was difficult to look at directly. In the palm of Luke's right hand, there was a dazzling golden disc array. The surface of the disc was surrounded by extremely mysterious runes. A trapping array, a defensive array, and a killing array? I have to say, this array is quite powerful. If an early ancient star transformation cultivator were to be trapped in this formation, there's a very high chance that they would be trapped to death, unable to get out at all. Unfortunately, before I came to the Lin family, I had already made preparations. Luke looked at the disc in his hand and continued, this disc was created by 2 of Huxley's top divine array masters. It can detect the weak points of any heaven-breaking array. The 3's expressions changed. They had not expected Luke to have already made preparations. As long as the weak points of the array were found, an ancient star transformation cultivator would be able to break the array with brute force. Luke slowly walked towards the mountain where the 3 ancient devils were. Above his head, the golden star shone brilliantly as it moved with Luke. This star was the will of an ancient star transformation cultivator. When an ancient star transformation cultivator transformed, all other stars could be summoned. Furthermore, the stars possessed by ancient star transformation cultivators were no ordinary stars. Instead, they were extremely powerful stars condensed by the ancient star transformation cultivators themselves. The ancient devil's expression darkened. He waved the array flag in his hand, and the array around the Imperial Array Library was activated. The Imperial Array Library was where Zhuoan went into seclusion. It was the most important forbidden area. Before Zhuoan went into seclusion, he had set up an array even stronger than the one in the Lin family mountain range. 9 different great arrays were activated, and then they intertwined to form a blazing and terrifying combination of great arrays. Luke frowned. He had not expected such a powerful array to exist in the depths of the Lin family mountain range. In truth, it was already difficult for him to break through the 3 arrays with brute force. He just did not show it. Now, 9 more arrays had appeared. They were many times stronger than the 3 arrays. He doubted whether he would be able to break through them. Of course, even if he managed to break it in the end, his vitality would be greatly damaged. Ancient Devil, I will give you one more chance. As long as you come out, we will settle our grudges. I will not kill you. I will only cripple your cultivation. This is the last chance I am giving you. If you don't cherish it, don't blame me for not giving you another chance. Luke. The Ancient Devil. The ancient demon of the ancient void's eyes flashed. When he saw Luke easily break through the 3 combined arrays outside the Lin clan mountain range, he was already a little afraid. He subconsciously thought that Luke could also easily break the 9 combined grand arrays around the Imperial Library of Array Dao. Fine. I promise you. But first, this has nothing to do with Master Zhuoan. You are not to pursue this matter. The ancient devil of Taishu dejectedly agreed. The heavenly fiend king and hybrid demon king frowned. They wanted to persuade the ancient devil. However, the ancient devil had already made up his mind. It was useless. Luke's lips curled into a brilliant smile. Of course. I came to the Lin clan for you. Since you're willing to settle the grudge between us, I won't drag anyone else into this. The ancient devil coldly nodded. He handed the array disc to the heavenly fiend king and hybrid demon king. After they opened a gap in the array, he prepared to leave the mountain. Just as the gap in the formation opened, the golden star that had been floating nearby suddenly moved. The golden star was like a bolt of golden lightning. It suddenly shot over and smashed into the gap. The ancient devil, who had planned to leave, did not expect Luke to suddenly attack. He was hit by the golden star. He only had time to protect the important parts of his body with his energy. Poochie. The ancient devil was sent flying. After smashing into several mountains behind him, he was embedded dozens of meters into the ground. And because of the golden star's attack, even the 9 combined great formations around the Imperial Library of Formations had almost collapsed, forming a huge gap that was almost impossible to fill. The heavenly fiend Evil King and the Yimo King did not expect this to happen. Caught off guard, they were hit in the chest by the aftershock of the golden star. They were also seriously injured and fell not far away from the Imperial Book Pavilion. Whoosh! Luke took a step forward and appeared at the gap in the array. He picked up the array flag that the heavenly fiend king had dropped from the ground. Luke clenched his right hand, and the array flag was crushed by his power. Without the array flags, the array around the Array Dao Imperial Book Pavilion seemed to have lost its backbone and collapsed, disappearing without a trace. Luke, you are despicable. The ancient devil crawled out from the ground. When he saw this, his eyes were filled with rage. He roared at Luke with hatred. Despicable? The winner takes all. What's there to be despicable about? Luke sneered. Ancient void devil, you can go die now. After you die, reflect on yourself. Why did you provoke me? Otherwise, you wouldn't have ended up in such a pitiful state. Luke did not even look at the heavenly fiend king and hybrid demon king. He raised his right hand and pressed down in the direction of the ancient devil. Instantly, the golden star came crashing down towards the ancient void demon. The golden star was extremely dazzling. Wherever it passed, it would cause extremely terrifying destruction and shrieks. The ancient devil's face was pale. He struggled but to no avail. His injuries were too severe. In the end, the ancient devil slowly closed his eyes. He knew that the only thing he could do now was to close his eyes and wait for death. After the array around the Lin mountain range was broken, Zhuowen, who was in the 10th zone of the Imperial Library, suddenly opened his eyes. There was a cold glint in his eyes. He said coldly, "How dare he break the combination array that I set up in the Lin mountain range? However, there are even more powerful arrays around the Imperial Library. I don't need to worry about that. This person definitely won't be able to break in." But soon, Zhuowen stood up abruptly. Because not long after, the 9 combined great arrays around the Formation Dao Imperial Book Pavilion were also broken. Zhuowen's face was extremely gloomy. He knew that he could not stand by and do nothing. Chapter 40-27. Luke floated in the air with his hands behind his back and a smug smile on his face. He knew very well that once the golden star landed on the ancient void demon, the latter would die without a doubt. Ancient void demon, that's all you've got. You and I suffered greatly at your hands in the past and treated you as a great enemy. I've always wanted to take revenge on you. But now, I've advanced to the ancient star transformation while you've remained stagnant. Right now, in my eyes, you're just an ant that I can casually crush to death. Luke's smile widened. His defeat at the hands of the ancient void demon had left him with quite a bit of an inner demon. But now, once he killed the ancient void demon with his own hands, his inner demon would completely vanish. His cultivation level would be completely stabilized and his strength would increase. This was why Luke had come all the way from Huxley to the Lin family. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had to come personally. He could have just sent his subordinates to kill the ancient void demon. Suddenly, Luke's expression changed drastically. The moment the golden star landed on the ancient void demon, a majestic figure appeared like a ghost and blocked the ancient void demon's path. The figure held the purple divine sword in his hand and slashed out fiercely. A majestic aura burst out from him. Primordial heaven and earth. The indifferent voice was like a clap of thunder, exploding through the entire space. Then, a blazing purple sword ray shot up into the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The purple sword ray was too powerful. It pierced through the heavens and earth, as if it could shatter the entire sky. The purple sword projection landed on the golden star, and an extremely terrifying explosion erupted. Then, the golden star that was like a hot knife through butter actually stopped for a breath of time. In that moment, the figure carried the ancient void demon, the heavenly fiend evil king, and the hybrid demon king and left as if they had teleported. The moment the figure left, the golden star moved again. It fell down and smashed into the mountain peak. In an instant, the entire mountain was completely shattered, turning into countless pieces of gravel. The impact of the golden star was too terrifying. After shattering the mountain peak, an invisible shockwave spread out. Everywhere it passed, the mountains within thousands of miles crumbled and turned into ruins. Zhuowen stood in the air and took out a formation flag. An invisible barrier surrounded him, blocking the shockwaves formed by the golden stars outside the barrier. The ancient void demon, the heavenly fiend evil king, and the hybrid demon king were supported by an invisible force within the barrier. They floated quietly as if they were defying gravity. "Master, thank you for saving our lives." The ancient void demon quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Zhuowen. The ancient devil of the ancient void had thought that he was going to die for sure, but he had not expected Zhuowen to pull him back from the Yellow Springs Road. His heart was filled with the joy of being reborn, and his gratitude towards Zhuowen had reached the extreme. The heavenly fiend evil king and the hybrid demon king also struggled to get up and knelt to thank Zhuowen for saving their lives. Zhuowen only nodded. He looked at the ruins of the Lin clan mountain range and his expression turned ugly. Fortunately, before he left the Array Dao Imperial Library, he had already used Array Dao techniques to refine the entire library to the size of his palm and put it into his great world. Otherwise, the Array Dao Imperial Library might have completely collapsed under the pressure of the Golden Star. Zhuowen's gaze fell on Luke. He said coldly, "Who are you? Why did you barge into my place of seclusion and injure my people?" Luke waved his right hand, and the golden star returned to his side and continued to revolve around him. He looked at Zhuo Wen and frowned, saying, "How is this possible? It's actually you." Zhuo Wen was stunned. He looked at Luke's expression and felt a little puzzled. This was the first time he had seen this guy. Why did this guy look like he knew him? "Zhuo Wen, it seems like you don't remember me. I really didn't expect that we would meet again in the 100 territories outside the realm. I also didn't expect that not only did you come from the lower realm to the 100 territories outside the realm, but your cultivation has also reached the fiend god transformation stage," Luke said indifferently. Zhuo Wen's pupils shrank. His expression turned cold. "Who are you? How do you know my name? You must be the Dao when that Lin Danshan spoke of. It seems like your memory isn't good. Back then, you stole my primordial providence. At that time, you were just an ant in the lower realm." Luke sneered. "You're Luke." Zhuo Wen's eyes narrowed. When the primordial providence was mentioned, he immediately thought of Luke. Back then, he worked with Xu Yuan to go to the place where Pangu fell to find the primordial providence. Later, he was tricked by the young master behind Xu Yuan. And the young master behind Xu Yuan was Luke. Although he knew Luke, Luke didn't come to the lower realm back then. Instead, he used his divine soul to control Xu Yuan to seize the primordial providence. In the end, Luke seized 1/3 of the primordial providence, and the rest was taken by Zhuo Wen. At that time, Luke was still very unwilling. If it weren't for the restrictions placed on him by the lower realm back then, he would have gone to the lower realm to destroy Zhuo Wen. "You finally recognized me. You're an ant from the lower realm, but your methods are extraordinary. You actually stopped the primordial providence back then. If it weren't for you, if I had obtained the complete primordial providence, my cultivation would be even higher." Luke's gaze became increasingly unfriendly as he looked at Zhuo Wen. A trace of dense killing intent shot out like a sharp sword. "The primordial providence is the foundation of the starry sky. If you seize it all, the starry sky will collapse. Do you think I'll let you succeed? Back then, it was my fault that my cultivation wasn't enough. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to seize even 1/3 of the primordial providence." Zhuo Wen sneered. Luke's gaze grew colder and colder. Suddenly, he laughed and said, "The heavens have actually treated me well. To actually let me meet you again, I think you must have absorbed 2/3 of the primordial providence. Otherwise, a lowly ant from the lower realm like you wouldn't have been able to cultivate so quickly. As long as I capture you and refine the primordial providence from your body, my cultivation will rise again." Level up. At this point, Luke's eyes were filled with greed. He looked at Zhuo Wen as if he was looking at a delicious prey. "That depends on whether you have the ability to do so," Zhuo Wen sneered. At this moment, after the array of the Lin's mountain range was broken, Lin Danshan and Luke's 2 servants arrived at the Lin's mountain range. They also saw Zhuo Wen and Luke, who were confronting each other. "This is Dao Wen. He's only at the middle stage of the celestial demon transformation stage. He's really weak." The 2 servants also felt Zhuo Wen's aura and looked at him with disdain. Chapter 40-28. "I'm already an ancient star transformation expert," Luke said coolly. "What about you? You're just a celestial demon transformation. You should know better than me how big the gap between us is. If I want to crush you, it'll be easier than crushing an ant. Zhuo Wen, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and cripple your cultivation. I can promise you that when I refine you, I'll lessen your pain and let you die a quick death." Zhuo Wen shook his head. "You're too confident, Luke. We haven't even fought yet and you think you can win? You think too highly of yourself." Zhuo Wen's eyes blazed with battle intent. Luke had just reached the ancient star transformation not long ago. After Zhuo Wen reached the celestial demon transformation, his strength had skyrocketed and he hadn't used his full strength yet. He still didn't know what the limits of his strength were. And now, The battle with Luke would test the limits of his strength. Luke saw the battle intent in Zhuowen's eyes and his face darkened. You really don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I won't be polite with you. After I capture you, I won't let you die so easily. Luke's lips curled into a cruel smile as a terrifying aura burst out from his body. Luke's right foot stomped on the air and appeared in front of Zhuowen as if he had teleported. Then, he pressed down with his right hand. The golden star instantly expanded by dozens of times, and ruthlessly fell towards Zhuowen. Is this the ancient star transformation's natal lone star? Zhuowen looked at the natal lone star solemnly. He knew that he couldn't hide his strength any longer. A mysterious purple light burst out from Zhuowen's body. The purple light grew bigger and bigger, more and more intense. In the end, the boundless purple light formed a gigantic purple divine tree in the void behind Zhuowen. This purple divine tree was too big. It was much bigger than the golden star and its aura was no weaker than the golden star. Boom! The golden star landed on the purple divine tree, and an earth-shattering explosion instantly erupted. After that, Luke discovered to his surprise that the golden star that had always been successful was actually blocked by the purple divine tree. This is your god demon. Luke was bewildered. He had never thought that a mere fiend god in the fiend god transformation would be able to block his natal star. Historically, this had never been possible, but now, it was happening right in front of his eyes. Then, an even more shocking scene occurred. The purple fruits hanging on the branches of the purple tree cracked one after another. Tall fiend gods with terrifying auras appeared one after another. The birth of a new fiend god. This. Luke's pupils shrank. Zhuowen's god demons were too strange. It was strange enough that it was a purple god tree, but this purple god tree could give birth to a new god demon. This was not scientific at all. Roar, roar, roar. As soon as the fiend gods born from the purple fruit appeared, they rushed toward Luke in a hurry. Boom! The first to arrive was the three-headed, six-armed god demon. It threw a punch, and countless gusts of wind swept over as if it wanted to tear the surrounding space into pieces. Luke coldly snorted and also threw out a punch. Blazing golden light erupted from his body, like rays of sunlight that scattered in all directions. When the two fists collided, an extremely terrifying explosive sound instantly erupted. The demon god let out a wail and flew backwards. One of its arms exploded, and purple blood splattered in the air. It looked extremely mournful. Luke's brows furrowed slightly, and his body trembled involuntarily. The strength of this newly born fiend god was truly not to be underestimated. It almost made him take a step back. What made Luke's expression worse was that there were many of these god demons. They rushed toward him one after another. You're courting death. Luke's face darkened. He shouted and pulled out a golden saber that was half the length of a person. Luke's right hand danced, and the golden saber released a blazing golden saber light that soared into the sky. Immediately, the fiend gods charging at him were sliced in half by the streaks of saber light. Purple blood splattered across the sky, as if it was raining purple rain. But what made Luke's expression turn ugly was that there were too many of these god demons. Moreover, it seemed that they couldn't be killed. The gods that had been sliced in half by his saber rays quickly healed themselves and continued to charge at him. He also discovered that these god demons were not weak. They were at least half-step ancient star transformation cultivators. Coupled with their powerful self-healing abilities, they posed a great threat to him. After summoning the god demons, Zhuowen's strength increased by a large margin. He controlled the purple divine tree to block the golden star while he took a step forward and rushed toward Luke. Along the way, he quickly formed hand seals and began to set up powerful formation runes. When he arrived not far from Luke, he had already set up a powerful trap and kill formation. Luke, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have provoked me. Zhuowen chuckled coldly. He flipped his right hand over, and an invisible barrier instantly appeared around Luke. This was the formation that Zhuowen had just set up. Luke wielded the saber in his right hand and violently slashed it through the air. Scorching golden saber light swept through the air like rain, and many of the god demons around him were blasted into countless pieces. The The heaven-crushing 9-tier formation is useless against me. Zhuowen, don't waste your energy. Luke chuckled coldly. He pulled out a formation plate and found the eye of the formation. Watch me break your formation. Luke soared into the sky and raised the saber above his head with both hands. He viciously slammed it into the eye of the formation. However, Luke quickly discovered, to his astonishment, that not only was the eye of the formation not destroyed, but it also surged with an even more terrifying power that crashed into his arms. Luke's arms were extremely numb, and he let out a muffled groan as he hurtled back in retreat. At the same time, the trap and kill formation around him exploded with terrifying killing intent. As Luke blocked these attacks, he said in disbelief, "How is this possible? I've clearly found the eye of the formation, so why can't I destroy it? This isn't a heaven-crushing 9-tier formation at all." Luke quickly discovered, to his horror, that the power of this trap and kill formation was who knows how many times stronger than the average heaven-crushing 9-tier formation. It actually made him somewhat exhausted. "You're right. This isn't a heaven-crushing 9-tier formation, but a formation that surpasses heaven-crushing 9-tier formation, infinitely close to the eternal grade," Zhuowen said calmly. Above the heaven-crushing formation Dao was the eternal grade. Its power was equivalent to a supreme expert of the great carefree realm. He had studied the heaven-mending catalogue for so many days, and it wasn't that he didn't gain anything. His formation Dao comprehension had already surpassed the heaven-crushing level. Although it hadn't reached the eternal grade, it was infinitely close to this level. Therefore, the formation he set up now was infinitely close to the eternal grade. Its power was far stronger than the average heaven-crushing 9-tier formation. What? Luke's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Zhuowen's formation Dao level to have reached such a terrifying level. One had to know that in the entire Hashu realm for countless years, there had never been an eternal grade formation Dao master. Was Zhuowen going to become the first eternal grade formation Dao master in the history of the Hashu realm? "So, Luke, you can die now." Zhuowen squeezed the void with his right hand. Instantly, the entire formation changed, and killing intent swept out like a tide. A wave of energy that could destroy heaven and earth roared like a tsunami, wanting to destroy everything in the formation. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.